Gotta bust it down like a white boy. Gotta bust it down like a white boy. I had to wait for that drop, dude. I could not let that opportunity go. I had to wait for that drop. I had to wait for that drop to just kick in. So, you know, we're vibing. It's summer. We're having a good time. I got back from work, took a shower, you know, I'm in my PJs and stuff like that. Reading chat, I'm realizing you guys just got to be honest with me. Am I ever going to live the cargo shorts thing down? I feel like I'm going to get dripped out. I feel like I'm going to get swole in the gym. I'm going to get dripped out, going to get like a 6-pack and stuff like that. And there's still going to be people who come up to me and be like, yo, cargo sap, cargo short sap. No, I'm seeing a lot of no's in the chat. Well, you know, that's okay. I accept it. I am cargo short sap. I'm the tall autistic guy. That's just who I am, you know? I'm the tall, weird, creepy, weirdo, autistic guy who, plays Hearts of Iron 4, even though I don't play that game a whole lot. And that will be my identity. That'll be who I am. I'm okay with that. I accept it. I embrace it. I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way, dude. I wouldn't have it any other way. So that's what we're talking about right now. That's what we're all about. We are on that grind set of just having a good time. The LL Bean sneaks. Yo, he got the LL Bean sneaks on. He got them Air Force Ones. I should have worn Air Force Ones to Detroit. So I just got robbed. They go up there like, that white boy got Air Force Ones. Let's get him. And they hit me over the head. I fall to the ground and I'm completely incapacitated, and they steal my J's. They steal my kicks, bro. So over. That's what I get. I tried reaching out to the black community, and that's what I get. That's the treatment I receive. It's not easy being Groyper Green. Groyper lives matter. Groyper lives matter, They steal your poop. Yeah, that's so true, dude. You have to keep your poop on you. It's like it's that incel musk. It's the incel musk that scares away women. Everyone's listen, everyone's going to the gym, everyone's working out, everyone's trying to look better for women. And that's not it. You should be strong, you should be virile, you should be a monster, but you should be a monster so that you can scare women away, not so you can impress them. Women should see you and they should go the other way on the street. They should be scared of you. You should be this weird guy who nobody wants to talk to and stuff like that, except your boys who also like trains as much as you do. And if you're not doing that, what are you doing? What are you doing? So we're incel chud maxing, as Lustas said in chat. We are incel chud maxing. Anything less than that, unacceptable. Unacceptable. But anyway, jokes aside, to begin with, we got to get in this topic, guys. We got to get in this topic. Catholic dating apps. So I was kind of talking with my boys in the group chat the other day. Everyone's got it. Everyone's got the group chat. There's only one. There's only one group chat, right? Everyone's got them. Everyone's got their Thug Shaker Central. I just happen to have mine. It's not called Thug Shaker Central, but it might as well be called that. Might as well be called Thug Shaker Central. Might as well be considered that. And, we were kind of talking about some unrelated topic that I think it had to do with some simping or whatever, just kind of the day's business. And Bob H sent $5. Thank you, Bob H. POV, you're standing directly behind Pinesap as he takes a big step on the ledge to speak outside Turning Point USA. That's what I'm saying, dude. Listen, everyone kept telling me to stand up to go get the picture in the back. Y'all got a free show. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, you got a free show. You wanted me to stand up and get the picture in the back, and it was that times 100. So, a free show out of that. But it's one of those things where we were hanging out in chat and we were just talking, kind of making jokes per usual. And I brought up Catholic Match. I said Catholic Match homies be and I think it was some homie saying milady or ha, milady, I'm going to court this fine young female I see. I'm this fine young female specimen. I'm going to court her, tips Fedora. We were talking about that. We were discussing that. And as we were discussing it, Johnny sent $15. Thank you, Johnny. Got lucky on CM, but it took me 5 years on and off to find a single good prospect, but been dating her for over a year now. So that one success may actually work out, currently discerning engagement together. Well, that's wonderful, dude. That's great. Blessed be God. That's what we want. We want, if you're called to marriage, we want you to get married. That's wonderful, dude. So I hope you two have a beautiful Catholic marriage, if that's what you're called to. And I think that sort of vocation is really beautiful. So blessed be God, man. Blessed be God, Johnny. That's awesome. That's what we love to see, man. But Creeper said $50. Thank you, buddy. This stream is just going to be like every single time I'm like, okay, I read the super chat, I respond. Then I get back into it. Someone says another super chat. That's funny. I'm okay with that though. We're along for the ride. First time catching a stream live. I had the pleasure of meeting you in person at the rally in Detroit. It was amazing. Love you, Pine Sap, RKD for NJF. That's what I'm talking about, brother. God bless you. Thank you so much, dude. I'm so glad you're getting to watch today. It's gonna be this is like, okay, this is like prime. This is what we do, right? This is what we do. This is the content I love doing because we just get to make jokes. We get to crack up. We get to, kind of like rip down these idols that people make online, right? These idols that people make of like certain like conventions that are very popular online, but like we all know they're kind of goofy. You know what I mean? We all know they're goofy. And in regards to Catholic match, like, look, I'll be honest. Again, another fake sell L. You can call it in chat. I have used Catholic Match before. I have had an account. I've tried like 2 times, probably like a year ago or something. And Sac Room did $5. Thank you, buddy. And, I tried like 2 times with it and stuff like that. Kind of, it was all right. I mean, I got like matches or whatever. Don't get me wrong. But like nothing really came of it. And it was kind of one of those things where it just felt really weird and kind of scummy. You know what I mean? It just felt very like I was window shopping for dating, right? I was like going into the supermarket and I was saying, oh, I'll pick out Eileen from, Colorado Springs, and I'll pick out Amy from Denver or whatever, right? And that just didn't feel right. That felt kind of wrong. That didn't feel on point. And XRA said it in chat. One trad wife, please, walks up to the window counter. One trad wife, and make sure she's extra trad. Probably has a secret OnlyFans, but it's okay because she wears dresses and siege masks once in a while, right? So she's based in trad. So, I've used it before, right? I've used Hinge before and stuff like that, to attempt to, find a young lady to maybe date or whatever. And it just never went well. I mean, it always felt really weird. I always felt kind of gross after using it. I was like, okay, this is not the environment I want to be in. It feels very artificial, I would say, because, part of our generation, you use Grindr. What? I didn't say Grindr. I said homie's trying to be an op right now. An op. I said Hinge. I didn't say Grindr, dude. Listen, I'm sussy, but I'm not that kind of sussy, okay? I make some jokes with the boys, but like I'm not throwing it back on a homie. I'm just telling you right now. Irish said, one tratty baddie, please hold the roasty. One tratty baddie, hold the roasty. I'm pretty sure I heard Grindr. Dude, no. It's over. No, I've never, no, that's ridiculous. Man's trying to implicate me in something I never did, right? But it's one of those things where hold the Arbys beef. Oh my goodness. But it's one of those things where, I'd used Hinge, I'd used Catholic Match or whatever, thinking, like, hey, I think I think possibly something could work out. I don't meet a lot of girls in my area or whatever. Because I mean, I went to a school that had like a lot of women in it, don't get me wrong, but like, it was one of those things where a lot of the women were just whores. I'm gonna be honest. They were like total sluts. Like they were gross. I mean, literally like going to the club every single like Thursday or Friday, right? Because we like wouldn't have classes really a bunch on Friday, and it was one of those things where I was trying to find a good woman. I was trying to find a woman worth, dating and stuff like that. But I would go on these apps and it'd be like, you'd see like at first some girl who like be like, oh, like this is okay. She's like kind of cute or whatever. She's kind of, you know, attractive or something. And then she'd be like looking for a stepdad for me and my little guy. And I'm like, whoa, hold the phone. Hold the phone. No wonder she's on here. Single mom alert. Single mom alert, right? The sirens were going off like wee woo, wee woo, wee woo, single mom alert. And you would see a lot of that. And I'm like, listen, I ain't no one's stepdad, okay? I'm not step sap. I'm not gonna be anyone's stepdad, So then that would happen, and then you'd see like a lot of just like very mid girls on there, very like kind of boring women. And that's probably frankly why they were on there. Cause probably like so many of the guys who, they had tried to Riz or whatever, just found them to be unbearable. Maybe Catholic Match, to be fair, is a little different because it's like you're going probably into that app with just the intention of wanting to find another faithful Catholic. So I'm sure there's, more good women on there just by like, just by the metric of it. But even that being said, that's a stretch. And to get like serious for a moment, to get to kind of the heart of like why I don't think dating apps are truly conducive to, finding an actual woman to marry, is because for us, and I was telling my friend this the other day, our religion is personal, right? Like we believe in a person who is truth, and that's Jesus Christ, right? We believe in a person who is truth, and that's Jesus. We don't believe in a vague philosophical ideal. We don't believe in sort of a vague outlook on the world. Like we believe in a person who is truth, and that's Jesus, right? And so because our religion already starts from a personal premise, right? Starts from a personal outset. Everything that we do is personal. The way that we treat each other, the way that we interact with each other. And due to that kind of like interpersonal nature of the whole totality of Catholicism, you can't transpose that into dating if you're using an app. Because when you get married, right, the two become one flesh. Like when you're married for life. You will never be able to divorce your wife. You will never be able to leave her in a sense of getting remarried or anything like that. Like you are bound to that woman and she is bound to you for life, right? The two become one flesh. And because the two become one flesh, you can't window shop on an app. It just doesn't work. Like even if all the cards on, even if all the dots on paper align, right? Like, you're going on Catholic Match and it's like, oh, this girl attends the traditional Latin Mass and, she talks about veiling all the time and stuff like that. Like on paper, all that stuff is great. And for a real woman, you would want that. When you actually start to kind of dissect the nature of what is going on, you're window shopping. And it takes out sort of all the interpersonal element that defines like a true marriage or a true relationship, right? A true marriage or a true relationship, I always love listening to like my grandparents or like my mom or my dad talk about how they met and why they're still married to this day. Listen, my family, the one thing we know how to do is be in marriages that last till we die. And because of that, it's very interesting getting to listen to my grandmother, my grandfather, my mom and my dad's experience with dating. And it's always a lot more dynamic and organic. It's like, oh, we met through a friend, right? Like I was friends with this person, and because I knew this person, they introduced me to your mom, and that's why we've been married for, 20 years, right? Or 30 years or what have you, right? Your grandparents will be like, oh, I remember going to the, to local corner store and your grandma was working there. And, I would pick a flower for her and I would give her that flower. And that's how we went on our first date. And ever since then, year later, we were married and had our first child. It's this whole thing where it's like, all of those interactions are organic. All of those interactions spring from like real human connections. You know somebody. They're a part of this woman is a part of your community, right? You walk around and you just strike up a conversation about, it could be something silly, You look for sort of maybe ends to establish a rapport so that it turns into something. It turns into something beautiful, right? Like, I mean, I am serious about the incel thing, but at the same time, like, I think it is good to get married. Everyone should get married and stuff like that. When I say incel, it doesn't refer to not getting married. It refers to not being obsessed with women. Because even when you're married, your ultimate goal should be, how can I grow in greater union with God? Right? How can I grow in greater union with God? And unfortunately, a lot of people in our day and age have made an idol out of, a lot of men have made an idol out of women, because what men are ultimately seeking is the totality of love. And that sounds weird at first. You're like, well, what are you talking about? Like, how could marriage, how could the union of wife and spouse be transposed to your relationship with God? Like, that sounds like a weird comparison. Well, you're looking for love. You're looking for an all-embracing love. You're looking for someone to understand where you're coming from, and you're looking for healing. And a lot of people think that they're going to find that in a spouse. They think that they're going to find that in this woman that they're dating or they're married to or what have you. And that totally undermines what a relationship is about. A relationship is a conduit or a vehicle, not because a relationship isn't a thing in of itself. It is, and we believe that, but it also is a means by which you get each other to heaven, right? And if that element is stripped out, if that element is taken away, a relationship then just kind of becomes an idol. It becomes something that you make your start and your stop, and there's no God in there, I mean, this is why Venerable Fulton Sheen talked about, 3 to get married. That was the title of his book. Show it to you guys right now. New Bluetooth game controller found. What the? Bluetooth game controller? I'll show you guys this book right now. And if you're thinking about marriage or discerning marriage, this is a highly recommended book. 3 to get married, right? By Fulton J. Sheen, Venerable Fulton Sheen. 3 to get married. And the reason it's called 3 to get married is because the central premise is Jesus is always in the midst of your marriage. Jesus is always in the midst of that marriage. And so when you are married, right, it's not that you don't have this great intimacy with your wife. It's not that your pursuit of God takes away from the love that you have for your wife. In fact, actually, your love of God should then extend to the love of your wife, right? And vice versa. Her love of God should extend to the love she has for you, right? As we love our neighbor and we're commanded by God to love our neighbor. But it's one of those things where when you strip that element away, when you take that element away, it really becomes men making themselves eunuchs for women. And Catholicism for these men that, I've had to fight a ton of Catholic simps on Twitter, especially before, for this very reason. And the reason that they're frankly kind of too stupid to understand what we're saying. And yes, I am deliberately being insulting. They're too stupid. They don't understand this. They're too stupid to understand that, like, what we're saying is not that marriage is bad, not that marriage is unjust, not that men shouldn't date or court, or, whatever you want to call it. I'm fine with calling it dating, to be honest, but, date or court or what have you. But what we are saying is that you're using the faith as a vehicle for your lust. you're using the faith as a vehicle for probably your leftover porn addiction, if I'm being completely blunt. And because of that, like, your whole theology of marriage is not like, okay, I'm getting married to this woman, and this woman is marrying me, and how can we get each other to heaven, right? How can we get each other to heaven? How can we lead each other to a more godly life? Instead, the theology is, well, listen, I'll obey the rules, but anything inside of there, I'm going to be doing stuff every single night. That's your mindset. You need to get some help. You really do, okay? Listen, we get it, buddy. You like sex, okay? We get it. Congratulations, right? Here's your gold star. You like sex. You're a coomer. You're a gooner, okay? I don't need to hear about it. And neither do the other homies online who don't want to hear about it, okay? I don't want to hear you talk about sex. I don't want to hear about how much, you and your wife, we really get it on in the bedroom. You're disgusting. You're a freak. How about that? Nobody talks about marriage that way in Catholic antiquity. Nobody. Yeah, sex is a part of marriage. Absolutely. We don't deny that. How do you have children, right? But I remember this, especially when we were fighting. I don't even know if they're still around, but old heads in the Catholic simp wars will remember this. You guys remember this website? Catholic Intimacy. Oh boy, oh boy. Catholic Intimacy, right? Got caught selling sex toys, right? Got caught literally selling sex toys. And like, their whole thing was basically, how can we bust a nut? How can we goon? How can we be gross? How can we basically do all this like weird kind of sexually depraved stuff, but like have it be just skirting the line of being Catholic? Just skirting the line. And this is exactly the problem with, again, like kind of the culture of like Catholic match, or like, again, another L. I will even admit, shortly before me and Spexo had started Logos Triumphant, I had tried like r/Catholic dating and like the r/Catholic dating Discord. And I had a relationship that came out of that. It was terrible. It was awful. I wish the girl the best. Like, she was a very sweet girl, but like we were not, in the right spot, to say the least. And it really pressed upon me like this whole lack of personal elements to a relationship, right? This whole lack of personality and the personal element to a relationship in online dating spheres can't really be like transposed to a Catholic context. It just can't. I mean, listen, yeah, everyone in chat right now is rightfully saying fake sell. Yes, that was a fake sell L. It was most certainly a fake sell L. I will not defend it. I will not pretend like it was awesome. It wasn't. It was horrible. My cousin, dude, I hadn't seen my cousin in months, and he was like, Pine Sap, how's the relationship going? And I proceeded for 40 minutes straight to basically say, I hate this relationship. I don't know what I'm doing, and I need help, big guy. I basically like spilled my cousin, who's like my brother, right? Who's like my brother. Like, I love him to death. He literally is like, he's like my best friend. I just like spilled my guts to him about like how horrible the relationship I was in was. No, not your cousin. I didn't date my cousin. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. Y'all are, this is the grind sap thing all over again. I was not. That's not what I said, dude. I said I was talking to my cousin about this relationship I was in. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. You freaks. Don't get it twisted. Y'all are a couple of sickos. Y'all are some sickos. No. But my cousin, I mean, he's like my best first grinder now, gay dating your cousin. Stop. It's so over. I can't win. I'm just gonna kill myself now. How does that feel? You guys happy? It's so over. We're done. Pine Sap, this show is over. I'm done. I'm throwing myself out the window. No, no, I'm kidding. But it was funny because like my cousin who, me and him talk about like everything, right? Like we I consult him for, life advice and vice versa and stuff like that because we're friends. We're best friends. And, I just proceeded to like kind of just, tell him like everything that was going on in my life to that point. And I was just like, dude, this is horrible. And it was horrible because it's like, number one, we weren't in the same state. When you're not in the same state, things get weird too. Like, this is an L on my part. I didn't, again, didn't do anything weird or whatever. But, you start to get kind of unchaste. You start to just like talk in a very like inappropriate way and stuff like that. You kind of up the ante. You say things that you don't mean. Like, I told this girl that like I loved her and I didn't feel like, I'll be blunt, like any sort of like love for her. I didn't know what I was doing, right? And it's one of those things where the more and more I was involved in this, the more and more I realized like this is just wrong. Like this just doesn't feel right. Nothing about this feels right. Nothing about this feels like how it should be. And I broke it off. I was just like, this is not how it should be, right? Like if I'm called to marry, if I'm called to date, I need to be with a woman who I organically met, who, we talked and we had this relationship and this rapport. And because of that, we, have established something that will turn into a marriage, right? And God is in the midst of that relationship. But that's not what dating online creates, right? Instead, what that kind of relationship turns into, or that whole kind of sphere turns into, is again stuff like this. Now, Catholic intimacy more refers to like like it's like marriage, right? Of course they're talking about like they say it on the site, marital romance and love, right? But this like gooner mindset, this mindset of like window shopping, because it first starts with like the window shopping for women on an app like Catholic Match. It first starts with like the window shopping for a girl on like Hinge or whatever. And you're like, oh my goodness, she's going to be my trad baddie. And we're going to move to the woods. We're going to have 20 plus children. And she's going to read me James Mason's Siege every night before I go to sleep and Ted Kaczynski stories. And it's like, homie, you're gay. Like, you are gay for women, dude. Stop. Stop pursuing women that hardcore. Stop pursuing women that intently. Hang out, right? Hang out for a while. Just be you, be a good man, be a virtuous man. And if you're called to marriage, like God's going to put a woman in your life and that's all going to work out. But instead, it's like these people who I see on like Catholic Match or whatever are like, I'm 18 years old and I need to, I just turned 19. It's so over for me. I'm not instantly married. I need to marry. And it's like, yes, there is a time limit and there is there is an expiration date, so to say, of when that marriage is going to be okay. But like, don't at the same time, like gorge yourself, man. Like these things take time. These things are built and it's kind of just allowing God to put it in your life. Now, it doesn't mean there isn't any action on your part. There most certainly is, but it's more like that saying yes to marriage rather than just being like, oh my goodness, well, Sarah from Salt Lake City swiped right on my image and said that I look so cute in my suit. And I need to fly out to Salt Lake City for this girl I have never met before and I know nothing about. And the only things I know about her are what she put on her profile, right? in order to make a lifelong marriage. How does that sound? When you buy a car, right? When you buy a car, you don't say, well, I looked on the internet, I looked at the picture on Craigslist, and it seemed pretty good. And, the images, they had this weird watermark at the bottom or something, like, from some photography website, like this was ripped from the internet, but that's probably not the case, right? The car's in perfectly great condition. And you go there, you buy this car like a dummy. You buy this car and you go there, the headlights busted, the mirror is like knocked off, right? On the door. The thing hasn't been cleaned in, 10 years. It smells like wheat, pot smoke, and hot Cheetos in there. And you're thinking to yourself, like, what did I just do? Because nobody does that. You go and you like look at the car first and you're like, oh, this is a nice car. Like, okay, I'm going to like buy this, and I'm how's the steering, and are all the parts intact or what have you. So if we do that for a car, why are we not doing that for a relationship, dude? And now before I begin, like, yes, it is true. I guess going out on a date, like just going out on a date, not dating, but going out on a date is kind of like that, right? Like you're kind of testing the waters or what have you. But it's like you're already starting from like zero. You're already starting from a premise that essentially is flawed. You've window shopped this woman that you've never met before. You've window shopped her. She said all the right buzzwords, all the right keywords. Look, I studied when I was in college, like SEO stuff, right? I know how to do keywords. I know how to put the best, AI, whatever AI spits out on your website to make it look nice and get more clicks from Google or whatever. This kind of dating stuff is the same way. You're trying to market yourself. And when you're marketing yourself, the problem is that you're not necessarily putting what's true forward, right? You're showing what people want you to see, or what you want people to see, not necessarily how you are. And because of that, like, you hear these horror stories of these like guys dating these just absolutely insane women who they're like, well, I don't understand. The dating site said she was trad and based, and instead she's like been on birth control for like 8 months. She's, had a body count higher. She's had a body count higher than a certain event in history. A certain event in history. You're basically like purchasing the used car of relationships and women. And I hear these guys and they're like, yeah, this girl, man, like this girl I was dating, basically like, stole from me. Everyone's like, you're on the goop. So she's a virgin. Oh my goodness. She is like absolutely insane. Like, she puts up this persona that she's trad and she's super traditional, has very conservative values. And then it's like you're talking to Margaret Sanger across the dinner table, right? You're like, who is this woman, right? Who is this woman I'm like on a date with? Like, she's saying things like, when we marry, I'm going to be the one who carries the relationship. I'm going to be the one who wears the pants. This is what our kids are going to do. This is what our kids are going to say. And Catholic teaching, listen, I barely accept it. And it's sexist and it just doesn't understand women's experiences. Like, I have heard so many homies say that this is their experience. Right? She's wearing the cargo shorts. Listen, my girl comes up wearing cargo shorts, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, bro. Like, my girl comes up wearing cargo shorts. Lean beef patty comes up wearing cargo shorts. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. My career's over. I've destroyed any credibility that I've ever had as an incel. Everything, it's all over, guys. It's all over. The pine boob has fallen. Millions must make maple syrup, okay? Millions must make maple syrup. But the dead emojis in chat. But grinder, incest, muscle mommies. No, but in all seriousness, it turns out that these women are not traditional. They're not the women that you're looking for, right? They're not soft-spoken. They don't carry themselves like a woman. They're overbearing. They're harsh. They're obsessed. I mean, they're always like sex obsessed too. Do you ever notice that? Like they're almost like more sexually aggressive than like men are. And it's very weird and off-putting. It's like, I want you to be like talking about like, you know, trees and bunnies and the thing you knitted, right? Not being like, when we get married, you better put a baby in me. You know, like these women are freaks, bro. Like they come up to you and they're like, when we get married, you better get me pregnant on the first night. It's like, dude, what the heck? What did I just walk into? Wait. Stop. Like, you know, it's like talk about the garden, talk about gardening, talk about like the nice, you know, the nice, tart you made with your mom. Why are we talking about like being sexually aggressive on the first date? Right? It's because these women are on like birth control and stuff like that. Like, you know, you're basically like one of those guys who there was in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, right? There's that evil villain called the Child Catcher, right? The Child Snatcher or whatever it is. And like his way of like getting the like lead protagonist kids in the movie is, you know, being like, oh, this is the candy circus carriage, right? And it's got the door open or whatever. And the kids are like, candy circus. And they walk in and then the trap door shuts and it turns out to be like just this iron cage. Like that's what this woman is doing with you, right? She's like, I'm trad. I'm based. I'm not like the other girls. The other girls, they're feminists, right? They are feminists. The other girls, they are bewitching liberal feminists. And you're like, dude, you're right. She's not like the other girls. She's different. She's based, dude. She's right wing. Bro, she sent me a Tucker Carlson interview. She's basically, you know, Ava Braun, bro. Like, I need to wife up this woman. And your white ass is walking in that child catcher's iron cage and the door slams shut and suddenly you're trapped. Suddenly you have, you know, suddenly you've been trapped in a web of your own machinations because you gooned. You were too much on the gooner grind set, right? And now your white ass is trapped and you are having to gnaw your arm off like a wild coyote to get out of that trap, dude. That's how it is, right? Patrick Kuiper said, suddenly you're raising a mixed kid. Suddenly, you're not the stepdad. You're the dad who stepped up. That's what changes. You're the dad who stepped up. You are the guy who got his certified trad baddie gently used, you know, and that comes with certain responsibilities that you're now just gonna have to be okay with, because hey, you wanted the trad baddie, you wanted the trad life. Well, here it is, pal. There it is. There's your Lily. Go get her, right? Throws the carrot out to the stick only to like land in the bear trap. it's like it's one of those things, right? Where Patrick Whipper, you wanted the Goth Latina, the Michael Lofton experience. Dude, it's one of those things where you basically get like, you basically get trapped into a machination, into a whirlpool of chaos that you were not ready for. But this is a tale as old as time. I mean, you know, like in all seriousness, you have to consider like all the stories in scripture, right? All the history in scripture that we read about. I mean, Samson, dude, Samson, I've told this story a million times. Strongest man in all of Israel, right? Strongest man in all of Israel, killed hordes of Philistines with a donkey's jawbone. And who makes him fall? Not a warrior in battle, not a strong Philistine, a worthy opponent that makes him fall in battle after a fair fight in which he gives it his all, but the temptation of a woman. But the temptation of a woman who cuts his hair and makes him lose his strength. Guys, you have this gift, right? You have this gift, you have this intellect, you have this, you know, this gift that you've been given from God, this intellect, this will, this desire to pursue virtue. And I see it with a lot of men. And then the second they get a girlfriend, the second they get the trad girl, right? The girl they met on Catholic Match, all that goes out the window and they turn into a neutered simp. They turn into a guy who is so focused on making their girlfriend happy that they stop wanting to make God happy. They stop wanting to pursue virtue, and they suddenly are undone by vice. And so it's one of those things where you have to divorce yourself from sort of this modern dating culture, and especially the sort of shaming that happens in a lot of our circles, that some, because you see it with some of these like old like millennial guys. Can we be honest? Some of these old trad tweed wearing millennials on like Twitter or whatever, who always are like, those groypers, they could stand to use a good woman in their life. Okay, I don't have to worry about dinner at any time. And it's like, didn't your wife just call the cops on you for a domestic dispute and you didn't even lay a finger on her? Like, weren't you posting about like, hey guys, sorry, can't be on Twitter for a while. Things at home aren't so good right now. Right? Hey guys, trad husband calling in here, right? He's using Twitter as his diary because they always do. Trad husband calling in. Me and the wife here are having a little rough time. The rough time in question, like she's hauling your ass to court to take half of everything you own. You know, it is unfortunately this simping mindset that people couch in the beauty of marriage, because marriage is a beautiful thing. Marriage is completely beautiful, and the theology of marriage is beautiful. You read how the saints write about it. You read how God speaks to us in Scripture about it, and it's wonderful, right? It's something that is truly a virtuous and a good and a holy pursuit. But what these guys do is they take the longhouse that we live in. People are saying in chat, thank you for bringing up that term. They take the longhouse that they are living in. They take the longhouse that we're living in, and they sort of put a Catholic veneer on it, right? Oh, well, you need the wife. You need the wife. Hey, a lot of weak men in the culture. Notice how they always talk to you this way. A lot of weak men in the culture. Well, you know what makes you not weak? Getting married. Getting married to the first roastie you see and wifing her up. That makes you a strong man. I'm here to tell you right now, that's not what makes you a strong man. What makes you a strong man is being a virtuous saint, being a man pursuing righteousness. And if marriage factors into that, that is beautiful. That is wonderful. There's nothing better than that. But that can't be your pursuit. That can't be your focus. You're missing the forest through the trees. These guys want you to look at the trees. They want you to say, hey, in order to be a real man, they always try to little bro you, right? In order to be a real man, you got to pull, bro. You got to pull. You got to get a girlfriend and you got to get married. And if you're not getting married and you're not getting a girlfriend, then your worth as a man is nothing. Isn't that interesting? Their whole worth for being so-called speakers on masculinity, their whole worth is still based on how a woman perceives them. Isn't that interesting? No, my worth as a man is based on how God sees me. If I am righteous in the eyes of God, if I am doing righteousness in the eyes of God and I'm pursuing a righteous life and God is proud of me, God, my father, is proud of me, and my mother Mary is proud of me, why do I need the relationship? If that comes into my sphere, if that comes into my life, if that's something that God wants me to be a part of, I will be. Because that's God's will. That's God's time. But I'm not going to be out here being like, oh, well, my worth is based on what some roasty I met on the dating app says about me. How pathetic and longhouse do you have to be to make that your perception? And all these guys, they'll almost start using this eugenics thing. Well, good luck keeping on your bloodline, bro. Well, good luck keeping that marriage together. You know? I'm sorry, but like, can we just say it? Good luck keeping a good marriage, you know? I'd rather be unmarried and be a virtuous man I would rather be a lay celibate for the rest of my life. In fact, that's something I am discerning. If I'm called to be a lay celibate for the rest of my life, pursuing God, than be a married tradcath, tweed suit, cigar smoking, wearing, billboard ad, and quite literally having my wife not respect me, being married to an awful woman who's tearing apart our family. Can I just say it? I'm sorry, but like, we got to be real about this, guys. This happens in our sphere all the time. You know? This happens in our sphere all the time. These dudes beat their chest and they're like, if you're not dating a girl every single day of the week and you're not going out of your way to just pursue women and get women and stuff like that, then you're not a real man. Well, I'm glad that you define your walk in virtue based on, again, what a woman thinks of you. Real masculine. You know, I bet when Augustus Caesar was taking over Gaul, conquering Gaul, he thought, what does my wife think about this? You know, when he was building an empire, he's like, you know, what is that girl I was sweet on back in Rome? What does she think about this? I bet Alexander the Great, you know, when he was conquering all of the known world, so much so that when he conquered it all, he wept, for there were no more worlds to conquer. He thought to himself, man, you know what would really be nice? A woman nagging me and pulling my ear. I want to use this to impress a woman, not because I want to pursue higher things or things that are lofty goals. I just want to pursue women. If those guys had that mindset, Rome would have never been built. Alexander wouldn't have conquered the whole world, right? Entire empires wouldn't have been built. Great works of art would have never been created. The whole of mankind would have been slumped into slavery at the hands of a gynocentric culture. And that's what we're living through. Do you guys realize like why dudes don't build stuff anymore? Like the real reason is not even because you have your iPhone, dude. Let's be honest. It's not because you have your iPhone. It's not because you have computers. In fact, if anything, those things make it way easier to build that stuff. Do you know why? It's because dudes are like addicted to impressing women. It's world goonery, Derp Geo said in chat. It is world goonery. It is quite literally an entire world so obsessed with well, how are girls gonna like me? Well, I got this new haircut so girls could look at me or whatever. Well, that's great, big guy. You're a slave. You're not free. The dude who takes care of himself and prays every single day and goes to mass and says, when I die, I will be nothing but ashes and dust. So I pray my soul will be lifted up into eternal glory. That is the man that's free. Do you think the first thing on his mind is, well, how is this going to impress the chick I saw at the coffee shop the other day? No, it's not. That's not the first thing on his mind. He might be like in the back of his mind, oh, I went to, I don't know, Dawsbog Coffee the other day. Saw a beautiful woman there. Oh, maybe I'll ask her out. Maybe. Yeah, maybe I'll ask her out. I don't know. See where that goes. See where that ends up. But that's the back of his mind. That doesn't work out. He doesn't give a damn. He doesn't give a damn if that doesn't work out. He's got other things he's building. He's got other things he's working on. He's making skyscrapers in his mind and taking the steps necessary to build them in real life. He's building empires in his heart and training his hands and his mind and his will to make those empires, right? The first thing on his mind is not, becoming a Ken doll so he can impress some girl who is going to create unrealistically high standards when she's like, what, let's be honest, like a 6 out of 10, right? These 6 out of 10 women who create these unnecessarily high standards when it's you're not even worth that standard, dude. Let's be honest, you're not even worth that standard, right? You've got horrible morals, you don't take care of yourself, you're on birth control, you are annoying to listen to or speak to, and you're mid. Sorry. But I need to hear you lecture me about what I should be doing in my life. That's what that Lily chick does, right? Notice how Paul Town, I'm pretty sure is married if I'm not mistaken, right? Paul Town's married. I'm pretty sure he is. And he's in this space with Lily. And heck, we'll just watch the space, honestly. Do you guys want to do that? Let's just watch the space. What am I doing talking about it? We'll watch the space and we'll commentate on it. That's interesting. Right? That's interesting. I want to watch that, actually. Excuse me. Sorry, I have to dust gets in the mouse wheel and I have to blow the dust out of the mouse wheel so it can actually scroll normal. Looking this up on my Telegram. Here we go. Based. We'll call the file Paul. That's what we'll say. We'll call it Paul. Paul Town cooked in this space, dude. I'm not too familiar. I'll fully confess this is an L on my part. I'm not fully familiar with Paul Town's content as much as I should be. But, I mean, from what I can tell, he's a really good dude.
All right.
So listen to this, right? So here's what we got. Good old Lily, single mom, coal burner Lily, right? Wanting to lecture the entire world about how, we need to... you're not up to my standard. Who are you? Who are you? You should be working at you're the type of girl to work at McDonald's. Can I get fries with that, Lily? Hey, Lily, can I get fries with that? Sorry, you missed my salad that I ordered. Can I get my chicken McNugget with that? Thank you very much, right? And you're over here lecturing guys. Oh, these guys are, I remember she was on Gavin McInnes's show and she was like, yeah, these guys at AF, they're posh. They're this, they're that. No. Shut up. Know your worth. You ain't worth that, girl. Okay? You ain't worth that. You think you're all this in a bag of chips and you're not. You're ran through and you're gross and you're old. Not a virtuous woman. Clean up your mouth too. This girl is such a dirty mouth hoe. She's such a dirty mouth whore because she can't clean up her language. And that's bad. Like, there's nothing more unattractive than like a woman like this with like bad morals, right? Clean up your mouth. I don't want to hear a woman, say the N word over and over and over again. I want a woman to be like, oh, I don't know, like normal and well adjusted. I want a woman to like talk about like what she did hanging out with her friends or something at the, coffee, the Bible study they did together. I don't want to hear some roasty go on TikTok and be like, oh my goodness, these guys are dating some broke ass N-words, right? Yeah, shut up.
Yeah. All right. What's up? You're a single mom. You do drugs in Detroit. You don't take care of your kid. You shouldn't be giving advice to like young men. Like your life sucks.
Okay,
your
cool.
life sucks. You failed. You're a single mom.
Hey.
Like, why are you giving advice to young people? Like Nick's like 7 times, like he's like half your age and like 50 times more successful than you. Like, I don't think you're unlikable.
Cool. Thanks.
Like that video you posted is just, imagine everybody watched the video she posted where she's in the car bitching, and imagine it's you, and imagine you're married to her. Like, obviously you get divorced to her. She's a loser. She's completely unlikable.
What happened to like last week's energy where you were like being like
this is why you're alone, Lily, because like that car video is just picture you're bitching at a man and he sees you. So if he doesn't hit you,
he's usually a lot nicer than this.
She tagged me. I didn't even watch it.
Like, you're just an obnoxious bitch.
Long.
You're just an obnoxious bitch. Like, why? Like, do you not get people don't like you? That's why you're alone.
Chill, man.
See this guy rambling around? If he had ejaculated this morning, he would be a lot more
I actually
calm.
did. I had sex when I got back from AFAC.
I've been masturbating during this whole space. After you made that point, I was like, she's got a good point. And
I literally got back from AFAC and had sex. You were in a hotel room with strangers doing drugs.
Okay. All right. So
why are you giving advice to young men? Your life sucks. You're not a good parent. You're abandoning your kid to do drugs in Detroit. Like, what are you doing?
No.
Well, then why are you following me? If you don't like what I have to say,
I'm not following you. You're obnoxious.
Good. Thank God.
Okay.
Like, do you not get that? Like, listen, there's a lot of single moms who do drugs in Detroit who say the N-word who are white. You're not special.
I know I'm not special, but I've got more followers than you do,
No,
motherfucker.
you don't.
You don't have the influence.
You have people who like wish they had sex with you because they haven't interacted with you. You don't have any followers.
You're also shaped like a surfboard.
Okay.
Here's the deal. Listen. Either you can be like Carlin and you can be kind of like butch and masculine and have a bitchy personality because it's like kind of charming, or you can be really hot and have a bitchy personality, which is like, okay, it's obnoxious, but she's hot. You're neither. Okay. You're just like, you're lame and you're obnoxious. You're unlikable.
All right. This is not what happened to you, Paul.
Are you talking to Lily or Brittany? I'm confused.
No, Brittany's awesome.
Okay.
No, okay. I have never said I was hot. I've never said I had.
Nobody else has said that either.
I never said I had a good personality. So that's all just.
Yeah, you're an obnoxious single mom. Like, why don't you shut up and take care of your kid? Why are you on the internet? Take care of your child. The reason your kid is on the internet is because you put her there, or him. I don't even know. Like, what are you doing? You're like a mama. Like, picture a mama bear, right? And she's like, "Here's my child," and my child got hunted by a hunter. It's like, how about you like take care of your kid instead of going to Detroit to a political conference to have sex? And then also do drugs with strangers in a hotel room. Why did you not have a hotel room? How did you not have a hotel room? Did you plan on sleeping with somebody? Why did you not have a hotel room when you showed up?
Missed her flight too. She has a child and she missed her flight.
Wait, all right. It's going to be one at a time. Like, we don't need to talk about it.
So why? No, how did you show up to a conference without a hotel room booked? You were doing drugs. You didn't have a hotel room booked. You must have assumed you were going to sleep with somebody.
Okay, whatever you want to say.
You slept in his bed till yesterday afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah, I did, and nothing fucking happened because we were all crashing out. And I'll repeat it again. I swear to God, nothing happened, and I'm getting.
You're an old lady with a kid.
Again,
why are you crashing out?
Clean out your mouth. Don't use the Lord's name in vain. That's even worse. Don't use the Lord's name in vain. I would even prefer her saying curse words than using the Lord's name in vain. I'm sorry. We'll finish, but like, really, come on, shut up.
All right. All right.
How about you get lost?
Quaver's one, bitch.
All right.
America first, bitch.
Okay, all right.
Dude, you sound like such a fucking loser.
You're a single mom who went to Detroit to do drugs with strangers.
And you're on some random chat room calling somebody names. Like, wow, way to go for the low-hanging fruit. Like, could you think of anything more creative? I make fun of myself for being a loser single mom.
Yeah, you are a loser. I'm not a loser. You are a loser. Okay, so who cares?
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm bored of this
All right.
conversation.
Bye.
So this is what overbearing feminists do. This is what they do. First, it's when they can't really defend their actions, they try to attack you. Well, you're fat. Well, you're a loser. Well, you've got no riz. You live with your mom. You don't have a 6-figure job. Blah blah blah. You don't have muscles or whatever it is, right? You drive a crappy car. You are not this specific type of phenotype that I like or whatever. So first, she puts it back on you, and she's trying to exploit your insecurities to whittle you down. Women like this do this crap all the time. They do this all the time. It's how they get men to be controlled, because women understand that, like, guys literally, they have nothing on a guy except just trying to whittle down his self-image. That's the only leverage they have on us. The only leverage they have on us. These women realize they have nothing on us, so the only thing they want to do is try and whittle down your self-image. But if you have a good self-image and you're like, hey, I'm proud of who I am. I'm responsible for who I am. I make the decisions that I make, and I am not impressed with anything that you're saying. They don't have any tactics there anymore, right? They don't have any tactics there. Censor a non-tipped $2. Thank you, buddy. What do you think about Catholics dating non-Christians or non-Catholic Christians? So, censored a non, I would say we really shouldn't be dating non-Catholics at all, unless that non-Catholic girl is willing to convert. But if she's not willing to convert, I would not start a relationship with a girl who is stringent against the faith. If she is willing to convert, right? Like I saw this a lot, coming from an Anglican background and kind of the more like high church Anglican background. I saw a lot of this with like Catholic dudes who, would go out on dates with these like high church Anglican girls, and they were pretty like open to converting. So it was okay because like their conversion was kind of inevitable. But in most situations, most of these girls might be pretty stringent. And, I even tried dating an evangelical girl once that literally thought that like, Catholics worship idols and we like add to the Bible or what the Bible says and stuff like that. And it just doesn't work out. Not only does it work out, well, here's the thing. It's not even about it not working out, because most certainly probably if the other elements are good, you could get married, but you have to understand you have a social responsibility to your children and to your own spiritual life and your relationship with God to marry a woman that's going to help you get to heaven. And if she doesn't believe in the faith, she's not going to help you get to heaven, nor is she going to help your kids get to heaven either. Kids who grow up in mixed, mixed religion households keep the faith less than if their parents are both Catholic, right? And it's one of those things where we have to make sure that either the woman that we are with is going to become Catholic or she is Catholic. And even when she is Catholic or going to be Catholic, she has to be very, very, very devout. Don't be unequally yoked, right? Don't be in a relationship with a girl who it feels like you're dragging an anchor behind you when you're trying to live a holy and faithful life for God. So that's what I would say. But that's a great question, brother. Fantastic question. And please let me know if I need to flesh that out more. Going back, though, to that interaction with Paul and Lily. So Paul's comfortable with himself because he doesn't seek validation from women, right? That's a dude who's comfortable and free. He's escaped the longhouse. He's burnt it down. So then she goes for the sort of defensive, she realizes she can't be on the offensive. She kind of tried that at the end, and we'll get to that, but she realizes she can't be on the offensive. So she goes for sort of the defensive, like, well, I don't know if, I ever said those things about myself, right? I never said I was awesome. I never said I was perfect. I never said I was a queen or that I deserve the world. So when Paul's making these legitimate criticisms about her behavior and about how she's gross, she's disgusting, and she should log off forever, she then goes into defensive mode. She goes for the armadillo shell of self-deprecation, where she's like, well, it's funny that you think you're owning me right now by calling me a hoe when that's exactly what I did. I am a single mom and I make fun of myself all the time. Yeah, and that's like worse that you recognize that and you're not doing anything to fix it. Like you have to double down when women like that start doing that. Like it's bad that you recognize that and you're literally doing nothing to make it better. That actually makes it even worse. Because if you didn't have enough self-knowledge, one could maybe forgive you a little bit for being like, maybe you haven't really thought things through. But the fact that you have enough self-knowledge to even acknowledge that about yourself and say, well, I know I'm a single mom and I clown on myself. Yeah, that's kind of the whole problem. You're all these things and you haven't taken any steps to better yourself. So the self-deprecation it's kind of like if I was trying to punch. It's like if I was trying to punch something solid and it turned into sand so that the punches like landed softer. You know what I mean? Like it would be like if I was trying to punch like sandstone and every single time I punch the sandstone, it turns into sand. So it slows down my fist or makes it less hard when I hit it. Right? That's the tactic behind self-deprecation. It's this design to try and like soften the blows or make it seem like, wow, great for pointing that one out, Einstein. I already recognize that about myself. But what you do is you then double down and you say, yeah, and because you recognize that about yourself and you've done nothing to fix it, that's why you're a gross whore and you need to log off forever. That's like exactly the problem, right? So Paul does that. And then the last tactic she kind of goes for is she criticizes the whole methodology or the whole interaction itself. Well, at this point, she's accepted defeat. She's accepted that she's all these things because there's no denying it. So she then goes for well, if I'm all these things, then why are you even talking with me? Why are you even wasting your time? Why are you such a loser to waste your time on a single mom? And it's a sort of like begging the question, right? It's this sort of like, we're wasting time because you've put yourself in the spotlight and are taking up everybody's time. That's why we're having that discussion. So you don't get to play this game when we suddenly sit down and have, because here's the thing. Lily talks about confrontation and men need to be confrontational and men are weak sissies and blah, 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 blah. But notice how when a man like Paul Town confronts her, well, why are you're such a loser, dude. Why are you even wasting your time on me? Why are you even wasting your time like this? That's one of those things where she's trying to have her cake and eat it too. She wants men to be confrontational, but when men suddenly are confrontational, she criticizes the methodology of those men criticizing her. Right? Because she's a washed up hoe. And she knows that about herself, but she's going to use every rhetorical tactic in the, washed up whore's playbook to try and obfuscate or throw it back in the guy's face or attack the guy. So even if she accepts that she's a washed up hoe, she's like, oh yeah, but look who's criticizing. But that kind of goes back to, I'm probably kind of overanalyzing this, to be honest, but that goes back to, there's an old fallacy, and this is a good fallacy to remember. It's called the genetic fallacy. And it's one of those things where this is actually one to remember, especially in apologetics. It's basing the truth of a claim on the argument on the argument of an argument based on the origins of its claims or premises, right? So if I was in a debate with, by the way, Tugboat Groiper sent $15. Let me answer that. Thanks for the stream tonight, Sap. I got to head out now and finish painting the engine room. Please keep me in your prayers. I absolutely will, brother. God bless you, okay? I'll ask for the intercession of Our Lady on your behalf and for the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ to descend upon you. For the bar to be 100%. Well, thank you, Anonymous. I appreciate it, dude. I appreciate it. The edging room. What the? He said the engine room. Y'all, I think some of y'all got to get your hearing checked. I'm hearing a lot of ridiculous kind of stuff right now. And I think y'all got to get your hearing checked. There's been a lot of misconstruing what I've said, what Tugboat said. I'm just saying. No, I'm kidding. But here's the thing. If I was in a debate, right? If I was in a debate with, let's say, a Protestant, and I cite a Catholic or Orthodox scholar, a non-Protestant, and the Protestant's means of attacking my argument isn't, oh, well, here's actually how that argument has been disproven, showing this logical claim from history or you know, the Bible or any of these other elements that are relevant to the debate. It would be instead the Protestant saying, well, the person you just cited is a Orthodox scholar and he's not Protestant, so that doesn't defeat my argument. Well, that person you cited is Roman Catholic, so that doesn't defeat my argument. That doesn't make any sense. That's not how truth is, right? Truth is objective regardless of who says it. Let's say, I mean, you know, with Paul Town and Lily, let's take just for a moment. Let's say Paul Town wasn't, you know, he's the awesome Chad we all know he is, right? Let's say just for a moment, Paul Town wasn't Paul Town and he was like 400 pounds overweight and he, you know, didn't take care of himself, you know, he's going through the Dunkin' Donuts drive-through every single day, getting a large Frappuccino, right? Doesn't get outside of the house a whole lot, you know, pale skin, what have you. Even if he had all those things going wrong in his life, it wouldn't take away from the criticisms that he's leveling at Lily. But women do this all the time because it's an emasculation technique. They basically say, well, unless you're David Goggins and you're a fitness influencer, and here's the thing, they just up the ante. They just shift the goalpost. If David Goggins was debating Lily, she would find some new height that David Goggins needs to climb in order to debate her or show that she's gross, right? Well, David, you make six figures, but you don't make $1 million per year. So your argument's invalid. You're broke. Well, David, you're in the gym 6 hours a day and not 8 hours a day. So therefore your argument's invalid, right? Even though David Goggins takes good care of himself, by all metrics, he's a winner, right? Now he does have some cringe stuff and kind of sucks a little bit, as Papal said, right? I'm not trying to attack the character. The guy's just kind of a little annoying, one of those like red pill influencer types. But all this is to say is that these women don't care if you're the six-figure lifter, 225 for a bench set, you know, four sets of 10, you know, Chad. They will find some new height or some new standard to apply you to in order to emasculate you and say, well, your argument's invalid because you don't have this, you don't fulfill this unrealistically high standard that I've set for you. It's so funny because we hear these like man on the street interviews with like all these like hoes, right? That like, you know, go around and like the bar scene in like Britain or whatever. And, you know, they'll always say, oh, men set such a high, an unrealistically high standard for women and stuff like that. When in reality, it's like the women set the unrealistic standard. There's a reason why guys may, and I think these jokes are kind of like, these are actually like fake sell jokes. Like, come on, guys, let's get our head out of the gutter. But there's a reason why guys like vibe with the joke about like, you see the random Starbucks, right, cashier and she's like the most pretty woman you've ever witnessed in your entire life. You go to Target and the girl who checks you out is like a supermodel, right? And it starts playing the like Lego Batman clip where it's like, you know, I just died in your arms tonight with that caption, right? There's a reason guys vibe with that because guys really are not picky. It's like if the girl is kind of hot and like has good values and a good heart and a good personality and she's a godly woman, the dude will marry her. But for these women, it's like, well, he has to be making six figures and he has to massage my feet every day after he gets home from work and he has to take care of the kids and I'm not going to cook and I'm not going to clean and I'm not going to do all this stuff. And it's like, wow, I wonder why you're still unmarried. That's crazy. Wonder why you're still dealing with empty egg carton. Yeah, those eggs are going to dry up real fast. I think you're going to be a little over the hedge, a little over the hill, so to speak, eventually. TikTok, right? So these women will do exactly what they say men do. And you can't get involved in I'm just going to say, you can't get involved in their bullshit, right? It's all bullshit. They're just trying to emasculate you and throw you down. And the reason this kind of applies to, by the way, I'm going to answer Anonymous's $3 and then Ice King Boy's $3 too. So just remind me. But the reason you can't get in this mindset or allow these women to emasculate you is because you will be controlled. You'll be a well-meaning enough guy. I've seen this happen with hundreds of guys, dude. And I know I joke about it and I meme about it, but there really is a tragedy to it. You see these very virtuous men. You see these very godly men who are just completely emasculated by their women. And it's like, you look at them and they are a shell of their former self. They don't laugh. They don't smile. They don't have fun anymore. They don't hang out with their friends. They don't go to church. They don't go to mass. They don't pray the rosary. They don't pursue God. Everything in their life is ruined thanks to that woman. And I see so many men, yes, even in the Catholic sphere, turn into this. And so this is why we talk about this stuff. Partly because it is fun and it's fun to meme on it and joke about it and clown about it. It is pretty funny. But it is also a serious lecture and a serious sit down being like, guys, we can't get involved in this mindset. We need to hold each other accountable enough to say, look, I need to have a level of independence from this whole longhouse society I live in, and I need to be operating on a completely different mental plane. And so that's essentially why we're going through the tactics of someone like Lily. Lily is a no-named hoe. She's a no-name busted hoe, and she's already had her moment of fame, right? Everyone's going to forget about her. But there will be women after her who employ the exact same tactics we've just analyzed here in her interaction with Paul Town. And you can't be the guy who gets tripped up by women like that. You got to be on your guard because they flaunt those eyes, they flicker their eyelashes and they look at you real nice and they know just how to tap into your heart. You're not stronger than Samson. They know how to play you like a fiddle. And so if you're not on your A game, they will play you like a fiddle. So you literally got to create a wall. You have to create a wall of separation with whores. You can't even let them have an in. Can't be talking to them, can't be DMing them, can't be, interacting, just cut it off. You have to create that wall of separation. And that's why we're talking about this. So we'll keep going. I have a funny tweet to read off to and kind of go off on, and we'll kind of get back to the Catholic match stuff. But I just wanted to read these super chats real quick. Felt bad I missed this. Anonymous tipped $3. Thank you, Anonymous. Question, do you think change from courting to dating caused this? So I'm going to be real. I don't really get tripped up on the whole difference in language between courting or dating. I just say dating because that's just how I refer to it. But when I say dating, I mean courting. So what I would say is I have the same definition, just using a different word. But yes, I do think you are correct. Dating used to be courting. It used to be the idea that it was sort of feeling out whether this relationship was going to turn into a marriage. And because the mindset of dating has changed from discerning marriage and discerning a lifelong vocation under God's union that he has ordained, it's turned into essentially like, again, as I said before, window shopping and seeing what is sort of a best fit for your like specific perverted proclivities, right? And because it's shifted to that, it creates a very difficult position, especially for Catholic men, to kind of bring themselves back to that mindset of, I'm in this for marriage. I'm not in this just because the girl looks nice, right? I'm in this because I'm discerning whether this can be the mother of my children or whether this woman needs to just be completely cut out of my life and I shouldn't even like look across her way when I walk the street next to her, right? So I would completely agree with that. Do you think the start of all this was the change from courting to dating? Oh, asked the same question. Yeah, I would agree. Ice King Boy, definitely. Johnny tipped $15. Thank you, Johnny. Also, Nibbo, what's the best way to follow up with you? Been trying via Telegram past couple of days. Don't need to bug you, John Paul Jones. God bless. I'll text you back, man. I'm sorry. Between the new job, I'm even horrible about texting family members and like friends back sometimes. Just between the new job and everything that I've had going on, it's very, very difficult to text back. So I'll try to follow up with you. Probably one of the easiest ways is if you at me, if you're in any of the chats and you just at me and say like check DMs, I'll check DMs. I just get very, very busy just with everything going on. It's kind of hard to follow up with people. So that's probably the best way to follow up. But we're now going to read this this Cole post of a tweet that was a little controversial when I was making jokes about it on Twitter. But I want to explain myself. I want to explain what position I'm coming from when I talk about this. Oh no, not the Groiper booty. Groiper booty. What the? Groiper? Let's see here. Okay. Twitter. We got it. We got it pulled up. Oh, dang it. Okay. Now we got this up. Pancake. Bishop with a smiley face. Dude, there's just been some sussy stuff. I told someone this. I said this in the same group chat. I'm like, things since AFPAC 4 have just been so different. Like everyone's making cargo shorts and cake jokes now. Like the whole we're in a new era of the Pine Sap lore. You know what I mean? Like we've closed a chapter and now we're in this new chapter and it feels very weird and I'm still trying to adjust to it. So y'all are going to say some sussy stuff and it's just it's not going to go over my head. I know exactly what you're saying. It's going to make me very uncomfortable though, to say the least. So this guy calls himself Hickman on Twitter. He says this. Here's my advice to single American men who feel hopeless about ever finding a good woman to marry. Take a month or two between jobs and drive across the USA. Stop at every gas station and truck stop and eat every meal at diners during non-rush hours. Avoid cities. Stop primarily in poor rural areas out in the middle of nowhere. Every time you see a pretty cashier or waitress with a good vibe, politely ask her out. Tell her you're out seeing the country and looking for a place to settle and a good woman to marry. Repeat until you find someone to go steady with. This worked for at least one young, awkward guy I knew at a Catholic church in Louisiana. Met this wife at Love's on I-80 in Iowa. She converted. Oh man, dude. Bro thought he was cooking and he burned down the whole damn kitchen, man. Man thought he was cooking something up and he burnt down the whole kitchen. Swamp said, do that and become the dad who stepped up. Yeah, dude, be someone's stepdad. That's the advice I have. TLDR, be someone's stepdad. Do you guys know Juggalos? The like fans of Insane Clown Posse? Be some juggalette. Dude, listen, there's some poor juggalette out there who is yearning for her trad husband. Be the juggalo who stepped up, okay? Be that. If you are going to quote me on anything, do this. Be the Insane Clown Posse fan. Be the juggalo that stepped up, okay? Because there is some trad juggalette out there literally yearning for wheat fields and sundresses. And y'all are just sitting on your butts watching the stream. Unbelievable, right? Pine Sap, try it out. I'm not going to try it out, dude. I'm not going to try it out. I'm not going to try it out. Dot Slop said, did my super chat come through? Oh, I don't see it for some reason. Maybe it's just a little delayed or something, but it doesn't seem to have come through. So, okay, a couple problems with this. Now, first of all, I'm not necessarily counter-signaling the whole, like, in your local area, you see a pretty girl at the coffee shop, the diner, the whatever place it is, wherever young people work, young early 20-somethings work, right? You know, you go there, see a nice girl, ask her out on a date. If she's a good woman, you know, hit it off and you know, court her, date her, and, you know, if you're called to marriage, make her your wife, right? That's fine. But someone said this on Twitter, but like being a gooning Ronin, being a Ronin whose sole mission is to wander the barren wastelands looking for your goonette is pathetic. It's gross. Why would I take time off work? Why would I take time off work to go wander the scourges of the open plains to find a wife? I mean, I'm gonna be blunt. That sounds completely pathetic. That sounds completely pathetic. Like, this is, again, like trying too hard. This is literally trying too hard. I get what he's trying to say about, he's like, look, these small towns probably have women with like better values in general and stuff like that than what you're going to get in the city. I get that point. But taking months off work to literally go and find your heckin' wholesome trad GF, that's just like, it's a simp errand. That's what it is. It's a simp errand. You're running errands to go simp, dude. And there's a lot of presuppositions in this tweet, right? First of all, who's to say you're going to find any woman worth marrying on these 2 or 3 months of work that you took off, right? These 1 or 2 months of work you took off. Who's to say you're going to find any woman? And even if you do find a woman, who's to say that this woman is like worth marrying? I mean, listen, I know we tend to have, especially these Oliver Anthony types, tend to have like, you know, a very cheery view of like the American heartland. Okay. I get they tend to have a very like cheery view of the American heartland. But, you know, this... Hold on. This is... No, that's not it. That's from a movie. Hold on. It's gonna get good. It's gonna get good. Like, no, I looked up the wrong. Hold on. I looked up hillbilly. I should look up white trash. Congratulations to who you're probably going to encounter, right? congratulations. I hope you have a good time with this, right? This is going to be... No, that's a little gross. Hold on. Sorry, it's hard to find an image. This is going to be you and your... We found the perfect one. This is... This is going to be you and your trad Midwestern GF. This is going to be you and your trad Midwestern GF. Old Fiddlebob McGuckins, and Sally Sue. Yeah, I mean, guys, I gotta be honest, you're saving the white race right here with this pairing. This is gonna make some beautiful A10 Aryan super soldiers. This couple right here. Billy Bob Joe and Sally Sue from Denny's off I-25, right? The Denny's off I-25 in eastern Colorado. That's really gonna, that's just gonna make you live out in the woods and live off the land, homesteading and stuff like that. A couple of chickens, just this pair up right here. Isn't that great? Isn't that awesome? Mike said average John Doyle server couple. So true. Hey, listen, you incel Groiper Chuds, you don't know how bad you're missing it. I got a fine shoddy over here. This is my fine shoddy, and you guys really don't know how bad you're missing out. Okay? I met her at BB's Burgers. My tratty baddie. That's what I'm saying. Like, you incels in chat, you're talking about how, like, that's lame and that's not, like, the trad life. But honestly, like, look what you're missing out on. Look what you're missing out on right now. You were missing out on... I have to pull it up. You're missing out on your trad GF. This is your trad GF right here. She is 4 months into a meth addiction, and she's popping painkillers like they're pezzes, and you are wasting your time on Twitter talking about being incel. Meanwhile, you could be shagging up with this fine sweetie, hair falling out, working the graveyard shift at Denny's, and you don't know what you're missing out on, right? That's what I'm saying. You are missing out. But, like, in all seriousness, it's like that's how that tweet comes off. Like that's how this tweet comes off. Is like, hey guys, meet the pretty cashier. The pretty cashier in question. The pretty cashier in question, right? Hey guys, meet the nice Midwestern pretty cashier, right? The pretty cashier with half her teeth falling out due to an Oxycontin addiction and stuff like that. It's like, dog, what are you talking about? If he was just like saying like, hey, like, guys, listen, you're using these dating apps or whatever, just, go explore the place you live in a little bit. Maybe there's a nice girl working at like all the places that the 20-somethings work out at a restaurant, right? There's a lot of, very pretty girls who work as like waitresses or baristas or what have you, I would think that would be a pretty innocuous tweet, and there wouldn't really be anything to make fun of, right? It'd be like, okay, that makes sense, right? That's pretty like on the ball. I get that, right? That's a pretty fair take. But taking 2 months off of work to pull a girl like this, like, is just the height of delusion. It's the height of like not understanding how that would actually play out in reality, right? And I get that I get in all seriousness, he wouldn't say, yeah, go for Honey Boo Boo's mom over here, right? Don't go for Honey Boo Boo's mom. But it's like, how do you think that this is going to play out? You're going into all of this. You're making this massive pause on your life. You're starting this massive pause on your life because 2 months off of work, that's insane. Who works a job where they can take 2 months off of? I mean, if you're doing like contract work or whatever, sure, yeah, that makes sense. If you're like a contractor, or rather, you work by being contracted to work, or you're self-employed, or maybe you're doing something where it's not really an issue if you take off a while, sure, but it's like my job I can't take 2 months off of, right? I know probably all y'all's jobs you can't take 2 months off of. So what kind of perfect world does this guy live in where it's like he can take 2 months off to go explore the heartland of America and hope to pull at least like a 6 out of 10 Denny's waitress? Like, bro is not getting it. Bro is not up to speed with just how reality is, right? And, I post this on Twitter and like guys are like, Pine Soup, you would do better to not seethe over this or get angry. And it's like, who's seething? Like, I just think this is funny. Like, I'm not like, fine, if it worked for him, that's great. I'm all, excuse me, peachy keen on, that working out for someone. If it works for you, dude, and you have an excellent marriage and it's a holy marriage and it's a Catholic marriage, blessed be God. That's awesome. But I think for most people, it's like, this is not going to play out how Blood thinks it's going to play out. This is not going to play out how Homie thinks it's going to play out, right? This is like unrealistic. And this gets me to a whole nother thing. If you're going to date, if you're going to get married, do me a favor. Please do not take like any advice from any of these right-wing accounts on Twitter. Please do me a favor and do not take like any advice from these people. These people do not live in reality. These people live on Twitter. They live in a reality that is like the idealistic sort of construction that they've created in their mind of this perfect like trad paradise where just like there's this untapped vein of just, 9 out of 10, IHOP waitresses just waiting for a man to sweep them off their feet, right? But in reality, it's like one of those things where that's just not how it is. And it comes off as very tone deaf and very out of touch because it is. And this guy, I'm harping on this guy, but this guy's one example. He's one microcosm of the larger problem. You see this all over Twitter. These young, lonely guys who are like looking for, they're looking for love. They're looking to be, with a woman that's going to be their wife and bear their children. And they're like, what should I do? What should I do? And they get told by someone, you know what you should do? You should sign up for my like $100 a month dating app that I've personally designed, and I will curate a woman for you. You should sign up for my random dating service, tradsonly.com. And, it's like farmers only, but it's for people who, smoke cigars all the time and wear tweed suits. You should sign up for tradbaddies.com and I will personally curate your trad baddie. That's the kind of advice that these people are giving out. It's like either this out of touch, not tapped into just like how things actually are, sort of unsolicited advice, or it's like grifts. It's like sign up for my dating service where I'll personally hook you up with some random chick who probably, to be honest, if you weren't like sort of arranged to date this girl by my $1,000 a month dating service, you would pass over her in the street like without the blink of an eye, right? And so that, okay, what is everyone talking about? Baby ice cream cones in chat? is that like some weird thing? Like I'm gonna look that up and it's like a gory live leak video. I'm not doing that, dude. That's weird. Y'all are trying to get me to like look up something that it's gonna be like some gory live leak video, and then I'm gonna be like, well, that's great. I'm scarred forever now. Thank you. So please tell me, you know, that's not some like freaky weird thing, bro. Dude, it's real. I'm sad Power Chat isn't working. Yeah, I don't know why it might not be working for you, brother. I think it's been working for everyone else, but I don't know. That's weird. So that's what it comes down to, right? Like, it comes down to sort of either this unsolicited dating advice that in no way is really is it workable, or really is it like, is it even necessarily something that you want to do? Because again, it's a grift. It's like it's like a I don't know if it's a Ponzi scheme. I'm trying to remember the definition of a Ponzi scheme. Yeah, not a Ponzi scheme. It's like a smoke and mirrors, you know, oh, trust me, bro, you pay for my dating service, my $1,000 dating service. I will personally, you know, hook you up with a girl. And the girl he hooks you up with is like some random, you know, like goonette that he happened to find on Discord or the r/Catholic dating server, right? And that's your trad wife now. That's your lovable trad wife that you're now shackled to forever, right? So that's why you should basically disregard all right-wing dating advice, like all of it. I mean, kind of all of it is horrible and evil and awful and bad. It's either a grift or it's just either out of touch, unrealistic expectations that it's like going to ruin your life or make your life hell if you actually like pursue or try to do it. You know, I mean, basically the guys who are the most successful at this stuff just don't really think about it. It's kind of intuition. It's like, you just understand like the basic intuition of like what it takes to be in a relationship, what it takes to get married. And you read your Bible and you pray on it and you do like pre-Cana with your priest or get advice from your priest and you're good. That's the only dating advice. Like, read the Bible, dude. Honestly, you want dating advice? Read the Bible. The Bible is literally the answer to like all of life's problems. You want dating advice? Read the writings of the saints and read the Bible. That's your dating advice. You don't need, you know, Hickey McGunderson to tell you, you know, to take 2 months off work to go find the, you know, gas station worker, right? You need to just read your Bible. And you need to discern from scripture who is a virtuous woman, right? Who is, you know, what constitutes a virtuous woman in God's eyes? And how can I find that in real life? And how can I find that organically in real life through friend groups, through social interactions? And here's the thing. And you can call me a fake cell, that's fine. But I will give just one piece of advice. If you want to meet girls and you want to meet especially good Catholic women, just join the young adults groups. If you join the young adults groups in your archdiocese, your diocese, your church, anything like that, it's a great way to meet women. It's a great way to meet women who are focused on God and who do care about God. Most of those women don't hardly have social media, and even if they do, it's like a private Instagram that like only their dad and their mom follow. You know what I mean? And that legit is like a way that, you know, you can find a good woman. So, I mean, that's my general advice. It's like join a young adults group. Young adults groups are just great ways. And it's also just a great way to make new friends, to be honest. Because like all the dudes that are in there are like intentionally Catholic. So you like wind up bonding. You wind up talking about like imposing a theocracy on America within the first 5 seconds of meeting the other guy in the group. And you become like best friends overnight, right? And on top of that, it's like you meet some very virtuous women. And even if it doesn't turn into a relationship, you know, if you're kind and you carry yourself in the right way, she'll refer you to other women who are single and maybe looking to, you know, be with a guy like yourself, right? So that's really the main advice that I would give. Young adults groups are great. They're probably the best way to meet a woman that you could potentially marry, and I think that's what you can you know, kind of pursue and stuff like that. Okay, baby ice cream cone. What is this, dude? I'm scared. Y'all been talking about baby ice cream cone, and I'm about to, like, there's gonna be just like a sack cloth that like gets thrown over my head, and I get like beaten into the floor and and just destroyed. Just destroyed, dude. Let's see here. Sorry, I have to do the authenticator. I have to go in the Power Chat dashboard to pull up the link. No. I did not want that. It's not looking for that. Okay. Well, there's no link, so I'll just look this up. But I'm not putting it on my Is it just this? Is this just what it is? Is this it? I mean, if this is it, this is pretty wholesome. I like this. I like this. If this is just it, like, I like this, this little guy. No, that's not it. There's no imager link. At least not one that I see. Oh, also, Trad GF from Ohio said JD Vance sends his regards. Trad GFs will win Mazel Tov. Oh, okay, Dot Slop. Sorry, buddy. It actually looks like your super chats did come through, actually. So he said 2 things: slow down on the content so I can catch up on clips, JK. Second, I was watching the end of your last stream when people like myself and others thank you for your work. You should remind yourself and us that it's not your work, it's God's. Real, bro. I thank you for that. That means a lot to me. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Dot Slop. Yeah, I'm glad I could see that, buddy. I don't know why it didn't come up on the announcer thing, but yeah, your super chat came through. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. That's great. Yeah, I'm not seeing, I don't know what it is, big guy, but I'm not seeing the imager link. Gnome pilled. Let's go. Let's see here, though. What were we looking for? The kind of next thing I wanted to get at or talk about, let's see here, was also sort of the problem with the whole, like, based, you know, the whole, like, based GF thing, right? The whole based GF. That was another part of it. And ironically, this was another thing that me and my friends were talking about regarding this this topic. I was talking about it. I was talking about this story with my buddy tonight when I got home. And there's basically, to sum up what we were talking about. So if you've been around for a long time, if you're an old head and you kind of know, like, you know, the ins and outs of what, has gone on in our spheres and stuff like that, you'll be familiar with, like, when the alt-right existed, right? Which was like 2016, 2017, even 2015 for those who were really old heads. I was not. I wasn't really politically involved till like the 2016 election in any capacity, and then just kind of slightly involved. But I did remember the alt-right because I did around 2016 start watching commentary videos, mostly from like libertarian people, right? Young Body Snatcher said, accept my Instagram message. I will show you baby ice cream cone. Okay. Which Instagram did you send it to? Which Instagram did you send it to, big guy? Because I don't see it here. You gotta at me at PineSap, at PineSap3, because I'm curious what this is, but yeah, I don't see nothing, man. I'm even looking in the hidden requests and I don't see nothing. Send it to PineSap3 for sure. I don't know. I don't know, dude. Pretty sus. I don't see this, dude. I don't know what you're talking about. There's like no message requests or anything like that, so I don't know what this baby whatever it is. Punished Serial Man. Okay. I guess I'll look that up. I'm just curious at this point. I'm just curious. Punished Serial Man. Okay, I texted you. Didn't say that you sent anything. Okay, and that's just like a ice cream baby, and that it is what you said it was. All right. Well, that's that is what it is, I guess. Show the stream. I'm good. I'm not gonna show the stream stuff, man. I'm not gonna hold my phone. It's just it's just like a baby ice cream thing, bro. You must show. Coward, you okay, fine. I'll show what it is, I guess. I don't know what is this, dude? This is just a random message, okay? There, I showed it what it was. That was weird. Let's go. I don't y'all crack me up. I don't even know what y'all are talking about right now. That's crazy. Thank you so much. No, it's the cute one. I just don't even know what that is, dude. What was the whole point of that? That was like random and chaotic and had like no purpose to it. That had like no purpose to it, dude. Would you box Jay Dyer? I haven't you know, really I haven't really trained in boxing that much, but you know, I need to train before I box anyone, man. I haven't like trained at all, right? So I don't know what that was or whatever. That was completely, you know, that was completely pointless and stuff like that. Thanks for wasting my time. I thought it was going to be like some like cool like meme or something like that, and instead it just turned out to be like some random, you know, just image of like this ice cream cone. It's like, man, wasting my time over here, bro. Just wasting my time. Man was wasting my time. But that's okay. We're having fun. We're messing around. It's all good. So going back to the topic at hand, you know, there's this thing about there's this clip I want us to watch of Sam Hyde, right? And he about kind of sums up like the problem with what we're about to talk about, right? Sums it up better than I ever could. Let's see here.
Also, I'm always a big proponent of lying to girls. If you have a girlfriend who's flipping her wig right now, oh my god, just be like, I know, sweetie, it's so terrible. Let's go watch Wall-E. Oh my god, sweetie, let's go watch Netflix and give me some pussy. I agree with you so much. Just do that. Come on, man, save yourself some trouble. Stop fucking thinking that women, this is part of the women hide wars, this is a charge extra for this. You can donate right now, paypalalienmode@gmail.com. If this advice saves your life. The women advice is worth thousands of dollars. I'm keeping that one under wraps. Women, stop fucking thinking that you need your woman to like align with you completely. Because you know who's gonna align with you completely? A man. A man with Asperger's. If you want the perfect woke waifu who is down with your cause, fucking go find a man with Asperger's and start dating him. All you gotta do is just let it slide off. Okay? Let it slide off. Stop caring about, I've gotten this is a message that I've gotten a lot too. I was dating this perfect girl, but she wouldn't listen to me about the Brazilian. So I broke up with her. Now I've been single for 2 years. She's such a cunt. What a cunt. She wouldn't listen to me. I tried telling her about Rothschild and Brazilian lineage going back 6,000 years and how it's a blood feud. I gave her a reading list of Hitler books and she only read half of one of them. And then she stopped. I want a perfect waifu. I just fucking either last night or 2 days ago talked to a dude who had one of these perfect waifus. I don't want to give too much of his info. I will say this. Women who wear the frilly sundress that reveals a little bit of the bosom and they want to look like 50s or 1920s milkmaids, and they post pictures of the food that they cook and like, I can't wait till I have a man to take care of with this. I know that's appealing. Those chicks have a gasket loose. Universally. You're better off with a rockabilly girl. You're better off with a rockabilly girl. You're better off with one of those dames. Look here, Tommy. You're better off with that dame over there by the hot rod. Oh, check out that chemtrail up there. You focus.
So I don't completely agree with that advice necessarily. Like when he says like, you know, you don't need like your woman to align with you. I mean, yes and no, right? Like like the woman that you're with should be a faithful Catholic, right? If she's not a faithful Catholic, you're just missing out. You know, you're missing out. You are not entering into marriage as you should, right? And because you're not entering into marriage as you should, you are really in a position where you're kneecapping yourself, right? You're kneecapping yourself. You need a faithful Catholic woman, right? If you don't have a faithful Catholic woman, you don't have a relationship that is conducive towards that virtue that we've spoken about so much this episode. And so Sam is kind of coming at this from kind of more like a secular kind of red pill mindset that I don't necessarily agree with. And that's where I tend to kind of be a little at odds with him. However, what I will say is that he is right that, like, you shouldn't try to find the and when I, you know, the whole James Mason siege, like, I'm not a siege tard. I don't believe in that stuff. That stuff's actually like evil and horrible. But, you know, the reason I make like the James Mason siege jokes is because there are these guys who think that, like, they want this woman who's showing up to like every AFPAC event with them, and she's just this spitting image of, you know, wearing a skull mask and saying the N-word and, you know, being racist and stuff like that. Kind of girlfriend, right? And a lot of those girls are feds, or they're like mentally ill and they're attention seeking. They're attention seeking, they're mentally ill. And I've seen so many guys date women like that who wind up being just completely destroyed by them. And I'm going to give a very prominent example in the story that I was going to tell. Pine Sap, find a barber or whatever. Dude, I'll find a barber, okay? My friend cut my hair. Lay off a little bit, okay? I get you're trying to be funny, but it's a little annoying. You've posted this like 5 times. Dot Slop sent $5. The super chat you read of mine, I sent 3 times. You can keep the $20 one. If you can refund me the 2 $10 ones, would be much appreciated. Let me see how I can refund. I haven't used a refund system in Power Chat, but I'm sure if I look it up after the stream, I can refund you those 10. I'll gladly give you back those 2 $10. Because I even saw that too. I was like, man sent me like a lot of money, dude. So I'm like, what's going on? Groiper sent $5. Any book/recourse recommendations on learning history of the church? I'd imagine it's one of the best ways to convert a Protestant to Catholicism because of the rich history. Asking for a friend with a Protestant GF. Let me show you one of my favorite and most easily accessible church history books. I've talked about this one before, but it's worth mentioning again. So there was this very faithful Catholic professor and academic named James Hitchcock, and his I would probably say this was his magnum opus, to be honest, was A History of the Catholic Church from the Apostolic Age to the Third Millennium. And, you know, there's a ton of history books you can get out there. There's a lot of great ones. In fact, there's some other ones up here like Thomas Wood's How the Catholic Church Built Western Civilization is really good. Timeless, A History of the Catholic Church is really solid. Do not get this one. This is written by a liberal priest who like dissents on everything. But these two are great choices. Like, this one's also pretty easily accessible too, and this one's pretty great as well. But here's the real kicker. The reason I like this one is if we go to like the contents of it, you're going to see something very unique about it that you're not going to get with any other Catholic history book. This is the only book I've seen structured this way. If you look, all the sections are sectioned off by topic, and it gives you sort of like a chunk of history that's very deep and detailed without being so deep that it makes it inaccessible to a new reader into church history. And so if you look, right, we go to the Apostolic Age, and James Hitchcock gives a paragraph or two about, how Jesus is the fulfillment of all the Jewish hopes, all the Jewish prophecy in the Old Testament, right? And then, we go to another paragraph, Judaism and the relationship between Old Testament Judaism and our Lord, the good news, the promised one, right? And it's all sectioned off in these like essentially 2 or 3 paragraphs. And that's a great way to kind of structure your reading of Catholic history. So I would highly, highly recommend for you, my brother, get James Hitchcock's book. It's a great one. It's worth every penny. I've been really happy with it. And it's a great way to learn church history really, really, really fast in a structured way, in an organized way. But anyway, back to sort of the topic at hand. So I was talking about like the alt-right and stuff like that, and there's a reason I was. So if you've been around in sort of the political sphere, if you've been around for long enough to be like an old head or be familiar with a couple different figures in the right wing that I'm going to speak about, you remember Charlottesville, you remember sort of the fallout from Charlottesville, you remember sort of the people centered around it, like Matthew Heinbach, Richard Spencer, Mike Enoch, that one guy, Eli Mosley was one, but I didn't know Eli Mosley very well. I only knew about him because Nick mentioned him when I first got into Nick kind of recounting what had gone on back in that day. And you look at kind of how that movement was very, very, very popular. 2015, it had a lot of momentum. 2016, it really had a whole lot of momentum because it was the first time people seriously started to talk about race. There were publishing houses like Arcos Press, which they actually put out some pretty decent books, I'm not going to lie. But like Arcos Press, like these kind of like alternative, publishing houses, speaking about issues that really were not touched on prior to 2015. And there was this whole sort of cultural shift that came along with the Trump presidency, the Trump presidential campaign, Donald Blump's presidential campaign, Plurf's presidential campaign, Cheeto Man's presidential campaign, right? And in that momentum, there were talks more about race. There were talks, there were even some Christian figures in it talking about, the need for kind of a more theocratic mindset in terms of government and governance. There were people talking about the movement beyond liberalism, right? So sort of moving into like illiberal societies, like what we see in Poland, what we see in Hungary, what we, started to kind of see crop up in Italy and stuff like that at that time. And because of that, there was a lot of hype around that movement. Well, Charlottesville was the collapse of all of it, right? Charlottesville was horrible. It was horrible optics, rolling out with swastikas and like white trash, Wignat symbols and stuff like that. There were a lot of people on it who protested against the taking down of the Robert E. Lee statue that were really good people and didn't believe in that stuff or weren't that way. But just their association sort of with that persona or that mindset was enough for people to be like, Nazi, and completely fucking ruin their lives. Just completely decimate their lives. There were guys who killed themselves because they got like doxxed and they just got their lives ruined. And, this was before you could really talk about like a lot of the issues that we now kind of talk about openly. Like if you talked about those issues in that time, you were excommunicated from like all of society, even the right. Like even the right didn't really want anything to do with you. And so because of that, you had these guys who just had their lives like caved in, even though they weren't necessarily bad guys, even though they weren't necessarily, when I say alt-right, that's kind of a larger collection of a lot of different groups that just weren't a part of kind of the mainstream right at that time. And there were some evil people in there. There were some bad people who believe in bad things that we could never support as Catholics. But there were also people who were Christians, who were just good people who were trying to do what they thought was best. And they got just totally thrown under the bus, right? Because of just how bad Charlottesville went down. And in that, there was this group called, if you guys remember them, Identity Europa. It already is populating my search because I'm leading into a larger point. Identity Europa. And what do we look at and see if we go to their Wikipedia page, right? I'm not even going to read the SPLC or anything like that. Identity Europa was an American neo-Nazi and white supremacist organization established in March 2016. It was rebranded as the American Identity Movement in 2019, and then in 2020 it disbanded, right? Leaders and members of Identity Europa, such as Elliot Klein, praised Nazi Germany and what they described as the Nazification of America, right? And they kind of had these slogans like, you will not replace us and stuff like that, which, you know, the idea of being against the Great Replacement is awesome. I'm against the Great Replacement. But these became kind of memey. And they became memey because it's like, here's what you had going on, okay? This right here is what killed the alt-right. This is why we talk about optics. This looks like crap. This looks so horrible, and it doesn't look good in any way, shape, or form. It's not cool. Like, these guys thought they were rolling out and they're like, look at us, bro. We look awesome. We're like a real nationalist movement. We bought tiki torches from Walmart and we're rolling out in Polo Ralph Lauren shirts. And like, look, rightfully so. I get you guys can say, Pine Sap, you're the last guy to talk about drift. I get it. I'll take the L on that. But that being said, we talked about the genetic fallacy, right? Let's not apply the genetic fallacy to old Pine Sap here. Just because I took an L in how I dress, let's not apply that to me. This is lame. Like, this doesn't look good. Does this look cool? This guy looks retarded, bro. This doesn't look cool. This looks horrible. Contrast that with like what we just saw in Detroit. What we just saw in Detroit. This isn't from Detroit. This is from I think the anti-vax rally, if I'm not mistaken. This looks cool. This looks awesome. These, like, people see this and they're like, these are like normal dudes who care about their country and just want to do the right thing. Like, people look at this and they say like, these are like normal, like well-adjusted people. These are American kids. They want to put Christ first. They want to defend their race. They want to defend their people, and they love. Like I said in the speech, which I meant with all my heart. Like, we love. We do this stuff. We go to these events. We put together AFPAC or any of these events because we love. We don't hate people. We don't wish people wrong or anything like that. We love people. And so, like, that's why we do these events, right? And you look at this and it's like, this is good optics. This is normal. This is well adjusted. People look at this and, like, even if the media tries to slander you, they're like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? Like, this looks completely normal. This is like a normal, Nick is a normal, and not a normal guy. Like, he's not doing extraordinary things, but like normal as in like, he's a well-adjusted guy. He's a well-adjusted dude. He's not some like weird freak or some like, just odd guy who, doesn't know what he's talking about, right? Who doesn't know what he's saying. We can go and, sorry, I'm looking for the pictures here. I gotta go on Twitter, I think. Let me see if I can find Nick's account. Oh my goodness, dude, this is gonna kill me. Sorry, I'm just gonna pull it up on my end so that y'all can see what I'm talking about. Look at this edit. This is put out by Schizo John. Shout out to Schizo John for this awesome edit, right? So you look at an edit like this. Look at what's going on. Those are normal dudes. Those are normal guys. Those are dudes who, that's your neighbor, that's your brother, that's your, cousin, that's the guy who you grew up, next door with and stuff like that, right? Those are normal guys. Those are guys who are well-adjusted and normal and good men, right? You see the hype with something like this, right? Check this out. You see the hype, you see the excitement, you see the energy. Look at that energy. Look at that crowd. Look at how awesome that momentum is, how everyone wants to be there, everyone's excited. You could be the most disgusting, slimy journo in the entire world, and you can't spin an event like this and make it look bad, right? You can't spin it. You can't make it look bad. It's normal, it's well adjusted, it's cool. Right? Let's check out old Tiki Torch over here.
Several people were
white nationalists march on University of Virginia to protest statue removal.
Injured, and at least one person was arrested during a demonstration by white nationalists at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville last night. Hundreds of marchers carried torches and chanted before fights broke out near a statue of Thomas Jefferson. They were protesting the planned removal of a Confederate monument from a city park. Police used pepper spray to control the crowd. Nearly 1,000 officers will be on hand for today's Unite the Right rally, which is expected to draw thousands of white nationalists, neo-Nazis, and far-right political groups, along with counter-protesters.
There it is, right? Neo-Nazi rally. What did they call it? White heat. Thousands, have pepper spray sprayed in their eyes. The cops are beating them down and stuff like that, right? That's the that's what's going on, right? That's what's going on. This easily demonized event. Easily demonized, because this is horrible optics. They're chanting blood and soil. They're like looking like idiots with the whole tiki torch thing. I mean, we saw these pictures before, right? We saw these pictures. This looks idiotic. This doesn't look cool. This doesn't look awesome at all. Oh, and great, he's wearing the Identity Europa shirt, right? Does this look cool? This look like something you want to be a part of? I don't think so. I don't think anything like that looks cool, even from like a right-wing perspective. These guys look like they're confused and dazed, and it looks like a Fed put this together. It looks like a Fed put this event together, and a bunch of dumb idiots fell for it. And hook, line, and sinker, they all signed up and they all marched like idiots in this Tiki Torch March. They look unhinged. They look unkempt. They look weird and very off-putting. Overly aggressive, not very excited, not very like pumped up, but like just very angry and easily demonizable, right? Very easily demonized. So that was the alt-right. This was the event that did the alt-right in. It single-handedly took all the momentum that they kind of otherwise would have had, and it really sort of just destroyed it. It like annihilated it forever, right? Like, they weren't able to come back after that. No one wanted to be associated with them. They were bad optics. The whole Heather Heyer thing happened, and everyone was like, nope, this is like not it. This is a bad look and stuff like that. And and like the Heather Heyer thing can't be leveled at like most of the people that were there. They weren't responsible for that tragic event, but it's one of those things where it's like it doesn't really matter, because it's like when you look like that, it's very easy for people to be like, oh yeah, look at the weird, alt-right people who did this event and like killed that girl, right? Regardless of whether it's true or not. And yes, to a certain extent, yes, the media is going to lie about you. The media is going to mispaint you. And to a certain extent, you shouldn't care about that. But to a certain extent, if you're playing into their hands hook, line, and sinker, you're just being a gullible idiot. Look at this. CWC giving the opening speech, right? The opening address. Dressed great, got the American flag flowing in the background. You got Kyle there, Jordan B. They just look like normal guys. They look like guys you went to high school with, you played football with, you were on the soccer team with, you hung out in, at the dorm parties or whatever it was, right? Great optics. It looks cool. This is exciting. It's got youth. It's got energy. The sun's out. It's a great day, right? And even when he goes for the more like kind of aggressive style, it's still cool. It's still awesome, right? It's one of those things where you look at something like that and you say to yourself, now that's a movement I want to be a part of. That's something I want to be associated with. What is this? That's cool. I'm getting interested, right? There was a former, I'm a little sweaty in here. There was a former Bernie staffer just today. I saw this post in one of the chats. A former Bernie staffer said, these guys are anti-Semites. Like, these guys are evil neo-Nazis. Like, they just seem to love America and like want to put America first. A former Bernie staffer said that. How great of optics is that? I mean, that's incredible, right? And the guy is more right-wing, admittedly. I think that's why he left the Bernie campaign. But that's incredible optics that even people who would maybe otherwise kind of be your enemies would be like, dang, like this kind of looks cool. Like this looks kind of awesome. I'm not going to lie. And optics is not about cucking out on your message. I want to make that clear. It's not about watering down your message or your values or anything like that. But it's just not looking like a doe-eyed idiot, with your eyes in the headlights, like a deer about to be hit. If you look like that and that's how you're operating, people can easily just clip video of you, clip pictures, make you look stupid and be like, that's it, right? Look at that chucklehead. Hook, line, and sinker played into our exact narrative that he's an evil neo-Nazi. People try to call us neo-Nazis like that. They're like, what are you talking about? These are like normal dudes. They're like college guys. You know, what are you talking about? That's ridiculous, right? So, you know, that's kind of the alt-right, right? That's the alt-right, and Identity Europa was a part of this. And they ultimately collapsed because they're, you know, essentially their leaders didn't know what they were doing. They were totally unprepared. They had like no sense of organization or optics or any way to sort of properly carry their message. And they get, you know, doxxed by Unicorn Riot and stuff like that, which is a famous, like, you know, left-wing doxing org. Like, they doxed the Patriot Front guys who, you know, by the way, stored all their personal information on public servers. Stored all their personal information on public surfers, right? Surfs up, dude. No, servers, right? And guess who was kind of a part of that whole falling down? This is how this relates to the e-girl thing. This girl right here goes by the name Samantha because she doesn't want to give out her last name, right? She threw all these guys under the bus. All of these dudes. Right? Totally, you know, these guys were infatuated with this girl. They wanted to go out with her. They wanted to date her. They wanted her to be their perfect alt-right GF, right? Siege mask and all. And this girl acts like a dumb idiot, right? We're gonna watch one of her dumb interviews and stuff like that. She acts like a dumb idiot. She's like, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't blah 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 blah. I'm sorry and I didn't know. It's like you knew what you were doing and probably someone pissed you off. Someone told you that your like makeup didn't look good one day and you decided to go like werewolf mode and completely stab him in the back. Right? That's how it always goes. This might be kind of funny to watch. That's how it always goes. So here you got you've got the siege mask, you know, perfect, perfect, you know, racist girlfriend, right? That like Sam, and this is where I agree with Sam on, that Sam was talking about, that these, you know, autistic guys get so infatuated with. And what does she do? Well, let's see.
When you're in there, you think that you just know the truth. You know, white people are more intellectually capable than other people.
They are the words of a repentant racist.
I start to use the phrasing and the language that there is, like, you know, an overwhelming majority of Jewish people in media and banking. You know, and you start to ask yourself, like, are Jewish people white?
A young woman once consumed by hate.
In that time, do you think you were racist?
I didn't.
As you look back at it now, do you think you were?
Yes. I never thought of myself as a racist person, but I was.
Samantha, who's asked us...
Now, first of all, you might say, well, you know, this girl is being so brave, or, well, I don't think any of us would say she's being brave, but you're like, I don't know, maybe this girl's authentic, like, you know, she's taking such a risk, you know, going and speaking out about this and stuff like that. What's her deal? Well, what her deal is she's not taking a risk because she's a woman. And now you might ask, what do I mean by that, right? Am I just being unfair to girls? What I mean by that is she can play the doe-eyed, deer in the headlights. I was just a poor, sweet girl. I was just a poor, sweet hometown girl who just didn't know what she was doing. And I got wrapped up in this racist, alt-right, neo-Nazi group. And, you know, led to a bunch of guys getting doxxed and having their lives ruined forever, right? And I just didn't know what I was doing. I was, Lust has said it in chat. I was radicalized. I didn't know what I was doing. You knew what you were doing. Don't play dumb with me. Don't play dumb with us. How stupid do you think we are? You knew exactly what you were doing. You were farming male attention. And I guarantee, and I think Beardson probably talked about this, and he probably backed me up. I guarantee this girl probably slept her way through the alt-right. I guarantee $100 that like a Civil War soldier with scalps from his enemies, like a Comanche chief with the scalps of his enemies, she's got a body for every man she slept with through the alt-right. She was probably either, Swampson in chat, she was probably dumped by some dude and it really pissed her off. And she's like, well, what's the best way I can get back at him? Oh, I'll leave and have my moment of conversion. I'll have my moment of repentance. Which is not a repentance because she didn't have any convictions to begin with. You guys have to understand these women are actually a lot smarter in some ways than they lead you on to believe. They're not deer in the headlights, doe-eyed, perfect angels. They are these harpies, these vipers, these snakes who know that in a group like Identity Europa, there's probably a lot of lonely guys. There's a lot of lonely right-wing guys who, find it hard to be, with most girls or whatever out of, their personal convictions and what have you. And here, what does she think? Here's an unmitigated opportunity for me to attract just pure male attention. Pure male attention with little competition. And you guys know how much I've talked about this. I have talked about this to death at this point. I talked about this with the trad wife TikTok thing, right? These women know that they're in an untapped market. Because, listen, the left wing, Twitch hot tub streamer, booby streamer, market, that's played out. There's a million girls doing that. You're just another drop in the bucket. But in a right-wing environment, if you can promote yourself as this sort of idealized picture of a right-wing woman to these very lonely guys who find it hard, especially in the modern world, to find a woman with good values, you can sleep your way to the top. They'll let you in all the group chats. They'll let you in all the inner circle stuff because all the guys have something to gain from it. You're a single woman. They'll let you have the keys to the fucking castle if it means they get to have their moment with you. They get to have some time with the, communal tramp. It's how it goes. And so this girl, we're not going to watch the whole 9 minutes. I don't want to hear her yap. We'll watch a little bit more. But this girl did exactly that. She slept her way to the top. And then when she either was dumped by someone and wanted to get back at him, or had just played it out like a gambler plays out a casino, right? Runs out of money or runs out of or bankrupts the casino, right? She moves on to the next town. She moves on to the next project. I'm sure she's got some boyfriend now that she met on Tinder. She's probably married at this point, but probably to some her personal trainer or something like that she met in the gym. And she has walked away from the life that she has lived scot-free, while there are probably some dudes who can't get a job at Foot Locker because they were a part of Identity Europa. And I guarantee you those guys probably were not even the dudes who were carrying tiki torches. They probably weren't this guy out here, this real smart aleck right here, doing the Hitler Youth haircut and, shout and chant and basically playing into every Hollywood stereotype of what a neo-Nazi looks like. There were probably a ton of dudes in Identity Europa that even knew that this was bad optics and never did it. But just because their name was in some group chat, just because their phone number was in some group chat, just because they were even remotely associated with that movement, they have their lives ruined. And she gets to walk away scot-free and whore it out somewhere else and tell her sob story. Look at this. I'm sorry, cry me a fucking river. This shit that they do, this whole, I just didn't know what I was doing. I was just a poor girl just trying to make it big and just wanting to feel like, she literally says in this interview, she's like, I joined because I wanted to belong. Is that a cute way of saying I joined so that I could, get a conga line of men to sleep with me? That's a very cute way of just saying you wanted to slut it up. What a vile she-devil. And yeah, I am being harsh on her. Some people probably are going to rewatch the stream and they're like, man, Pine Sap, you're really harsh on her. Well, I'm harsh on her because she gets to ruin men's lives and play the whole victim card. Meanwhile, she will go somewhere else and attract another man and be perfectly fine off. And there's some dude rotting right now, probably living paycheck to paycheck, thanks to this bitch. So yeah, I'm a little pissed off at her. I think she's a dumb whore, and I think that she got to get away scot-free with what she did because she played the whole, deer in the headlights, I'm so, confused and sad, and I just don't know what's up. You knew exactly what you were doing.
White supremacist hate group called Identity Europa. In the summer of 2017, Identity Europa united with other groups in the white supremacist movement and descended upon Charlottesville, Virginia. It was a weekend filled with hate. One that would result in the death of a young woman, Heather Heyer, after rally-goer James Alex Fields Jr. deliberately drove his car into a group of counter-protesters. Earlier this year, Fields was sentenced to life in prison on federal hate crime charges.
Up until the Unite the Right rally, there was no...
And again, for all the men who probably attended that rally and would never think twice about ever hurting someone, ever causing harm to someone's life, it doesn't matter. They got thrown in with that guy, and all people will ever see is the image of the car plowing into the crowd, which is horrible. We don't want anyone to get hurt. That's awful. I never want to hurt a single human being as long as I live. And his mugshot. And that's all we remember. I'm sure there were conversations that weekend prior to all that going on that were about how much they care about their nation, how they think they're doing the right thing. They think they are standing up for what's right. I'm sure there were a lot of well-intentioned guys who thought that they were fighting on the side of right. They were fighting on the good side of history. Well, in the public perception, that's been destroyed. And so now you just have this really chaotic event that will forever be tied to people who had no responsibility for the horrible, things that went on in that moment.
No explicitly connected death to the alt-right. And everything changed that day.
She realized it was time to get out.
By the time I had left, there was the promotion of an ethno-state. There was a promotion of a peaceful ethnic cleansing. There's nothing not hateful about that.
Now Samantha is coming forward in her first television interview to warn others about the prevalence of hate and the means by which these groups bring others into their fold.
People need to understand that it's not the kid in Wyoming who grew up, with gas station beer and a toothless father who becomes this. It is your mailman. It is your surgeon. It is your doctor, lawyer. It is everyone.
Her story is included in the new book.
Guys, because that's your doctor or your mailman or your lawyer, that's why you got to be docile. Listen, that's why you got to order Grubhub 24 hours a day, and you just got to, be addicted to porn and never go outside and, watch Twitch all day and basically make your bedroom like a cave that you never leave, like you're a bear hibernating, because you don't want to be one of those evil alt-right members, right? You don't want to be one of those evil white supremacists, right? Unbelievable, man.
Antisocial, online
She was one of the few people
held in D.C. Pharmacy events, like this one in the spring of 2017 held in D.C.
Young people are not caught.
There she is among the crowd listening to the words of alt-right founder Richard Spencer. Samantha says it was rare for women to get involved.
There was always at least like
It's rare for women to get involved, right? Okay, I ordered DoorDash and stay inside, but in a base way. No, that's fair. Listen, I've used, I mean, the Amazon Prime. If you have Prime, like you get free delivery or whatever. Don't get me wrong. I still Grubhub and stuff like that. But I also go, I walk to work I walk to work most days actually. I walk to work most days. I get outside. I hang out with my friends or whatever. So I'm not dogging on anyone using DoorDash or being more of a homebody. I'm those things, but. You know, it's essentially like what all these de-radicalization things are trying to do is it's trying to make you like a soft, easily malleable man. It's trying to make you scared that if you for an even instant think to yourself, life really should not be this way. Like life should not be this horrible, and there's a reason why I feel, sad. There's a reason why I feel like everything is just going down the tubes and I got to do something about it. Well, all they got to do is pull up the Charlottesville clip of the Dodge Charger ramming into the crowd. And that's meant to play on a feedback loop. That's meant to be a Skinner's box, automatic reaction to be like, nope. Go back to watching Twitch streamers, go back to watching porn, go back to going back to docile life, watching YouTube clips all the time. Don't go outside, don't socialize with people, don't go to church, don't go to mass. You don't want to be evil alt-right neo-Nazi. You're gonna ram your car into people. Even though literally any sane person would never do something like that or promote something like that in a million years. It's against better judgment. Anyone with anything above a room temperature IQ knows, just because I don't want white people to literally be killed every single day and I want my faith to not be persecuted doesn't mean I'm going to ram a car into a fucking crowd of people, okay? It only takes an absolute retard to think that way. That somehow, like, you going to mass and being a devout Catholic and loving people with all your heart, everyone, even our enemies, right? Loving people with all your heart is going to somehow turn into you being like some Adam Waffen, Day of the Rope, Turner Diaries freak. Anyone with any like base level cognition in their frontal lobe knows that is idiotic to draw a line between those two things. A line of connection. But it doesn't matter because the media wants to hammer in your head, and they do this for normies, that if you do what we do, you're going to be like that. Well, I'm not like that. I meant this in my speech, and this hasn't changed. Even this girl, as harsh as I maybe been her way, I even love a girl like this. I love her. I pray that she's living a good Catholic life. I pray that she is going to church and she is amending her life and she becomes a saint and she goes to heaven. I really do mean that. I hope the guy interviewing her amends his life, loves our Lord, loves Our Lady with all his heart, and goes to heaven. I do. And you do. And we're normal people. And the sad thing about our time is we are so normal that we see a crazy ass world around us. And we're like, there are men pretending to be women. There are people openly promoting pedophilia. There are people killing children. There are people who are quite literally making people into consumer slaves who will live and die in the same bed that they are confined to. And we look at this and we're like, this is messed up. What are we doing? This is horrible. And all these news stories are meant to do is say, don't think about that. Don't think about that. Alt-right, neo-Nazi, white supremacist. If you start thinking about those things, if you start going down that line of thought, Heather Heyer, ramming the car in the crowd, terrorist, Atomwaffen. You will never be those things because you love. Those people didn't love. And frankly, half those people aren't even, half those people are just straight up feds, right? Like Atomwaffen's a fed group. No one's a part of Atomwaffen, right? Come on. It's not even a real group. But if you're Catholic, of course you're not going to join a terrorist group. Of course you're not going to be an actual white supremacist. Thinking that anyone who's not white is somehow inferior or unequal or what have you. Of course you're not going to think that. That goes completely contrary to the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ. I don't think that. You don't think that. No faithful Catholic does. But all this propaganda arm of our media is trying to do is for you to draw a mental connection between our faith and our lifestyle and this kind of messed up crap, so that you don't then want to do it, and you'll be like a bread tuber. You'll be like a Vosh fan. And so that's why I'm frustrated with this kind of stuff, because it's like the worst sort of like propaganda that they level our way. It's dehumanizing, man. It's dehumanizing to just be like, I just want to like live in a normal Catholic country and have the media say that I'm like a racist monster, to say that I like hate people, to say that I don't love. It hurts. I'm human. Look, it hurts. I'm human, dude. I bleed just like everybody else. It hurts when people say stuff like that and slander me. And I know you guys feel the same way too. When we say we're real human beings, like, yeah, sorry, a bug flew by, little beetle. When we say that we're real human beings, like, yes, part of that's kind of like just, one of those meme terms like based or red pilled or whatever. But there is a lot of truth to it. It's like we are real human beings. We do love deeply. We care deeply. We go outside and we see a sunset, or we fall in love, or we're enraptured by the sublime nature of life. And every breath we take is another poem thanking God that we are alive on this earth. We are actual real human beings. And to have people try and take that from us and try and undermine us and dehumanize us just hurts, man. It's disgusting. And we've grown thick skin to it, but you realize how just desensitized you are when this is what you hear every single day.
A woman at every party that I had gone to, like other than me, but it was like a handful.
They went to great lengths to make her feel important, because she was important, because they needed someone to be the female face of their movement.
Using a pseudonym, Samantha says she became very active in the group's...
That's cute. I really don't think there was any need for a female face. I think they just all wanted to sleep with her. Can we be real?
Online chat rooms.
Did you ever post hateful messages?
Probably. I don't specifically recall, but I probably did.
Sounds to me like when the politicians ask, did you ever pose in blackface, right? It's kind of thing, either you did or you didn't.
In the footsteps of others is perhaps what got Samantha involved with white supremacy in the first place. She says she so badly wanted to feel like she belonged.
I came to the realization that, like, instead of accepting that I'm just a generally mediocre person, those groups make you feel like you are excellent. You are it just for existing, for doing absolutely nothing.
You're making it sound like if you're a member of one of these groups, the qualifications are be white and be a loser.
I can't really argue that.
It's much easier to get sucked in if you're lonely, if you don't have a strong sense of self. And I think they got to her at a time in her life when she was just really battered around and didn't really know who she was.
Got to her when she was battered around and didn't really know who she was, by the way. Really got to her. I think a couple things got to her. I think she's being cute about this, but I think we all know what got to her being involved in this. She's a succubus. She's a siren. We all know what it means that she got battered around. Yeah. Is that what we're calling it now? Battered around? That what we're calling it? Is that the cute term that we don't use to slut shame? She's a whore, dude. She slept around, she had fun, and when there wasn't any more fun or any more attention, or her game got caught out, or whatever it was, it could have been like 10 different things. She left. And that's why, like, when he was like, did you send the racist messages or whatever, or like, I just wanted to be loved, I just wanted to be cared about. She's playing the victim. So she's repenting, she's making amends with the liberal, world order that we live under. She's giving her reparations for being the racist. But then on top of that, she's also playing the victim card. I didn't know what I was doing. I was so lost. I was just a young girl, so excited and just wanting to belong. And it's a convenient out for her. It's a convenient out. So, all this is to say is, like, these women, this is why we say no e-girls ever. Part of it is a thing of, like, it is gay to simp for women, and it just looks bad, and it's just like, come on, what are you doing? Right? That's the least of it. The most of it is you give these girls access to your heart, to your life, to your group chats, to your Discord channels, to anything that this is, anything that you have, and they'll be a Samantha. They will throw a wrecking ball in your life, and they do not care. I have seen at least 20 women, same story. I was in this right-wing group, I was in this right-wing channel, I was in this dissident group, and they're really sexist, they're mean towards women, so I got this new left-wing boyfriend, and now I'm super liberal, and now I'm super left-wing and stuff like that. I mean, we all know trying to find a not immodest picture of her. We all know this girl, right? Ashton Whitty. Ashton Whitty, right? Went by Ashton Birdie. You guys remember her? If you guys are new heads, you probably don't remember her, right? This was kind of this is kind of an old head thing. So if you guys are new to our sphere or our circle, you're not going to know who she is. Ashton Whitty was a right-wing e-girl who basically she had this YouTube channel and stuff like that where she was like, I'm conservative and I'm pissing off my liberal parents, I'm pissing off my liberal family. And, made this whole sort of like perfect illusion for any passerby, right? Wait, is there a video of her meltdown? Did this whole tour about I was disowned for being conservative. I'm this conservative woman and stuff like that, and I I was thrown out of my house because I was conservative and stuff like that, right? Last videos she made were like just like a year ago and stuff like that. And it's of course it's fucking Harry Potter videos, dude. Of course. Yeah, I'm not surprised she's doing Harry Potter videos now. So she would go on channels like this, right? NRA TV. And she was like the darling, like young sort of like Zoomer millennial. I don't really know which generation she falls into necessarily. She dated Boob Alaska, and that was a whole nightmare. And she made him like apologize and say that like BLM is awesome and stuff like that, and apologize for being racist. She totally castrated the guy. It was pretty pathetic, honestly. Bye, Pine Sad and chat. Bye, Pax. It was good having you here, buddy. And you know, it was a whole nightmare. I mean, Baked Alaska was like embarrassing us, right? He was just acting like an idiot dating this girl. She would have like meltdowns on, because, you know, he's an IRL streamer, so he literally streams like every single day of his life. She would have like meltdowns on stream. And she'd like shut the doors. She'd call the police, like slam doors, call the police, just like freak out. Like they couldn't figure out like what was wrong with her. And it's because she's like an attention, you know, she's an attention whore. I mean, look at this face. This is like the face of like an unhinged woman, right? And so she would be on like shows like NRA TV and, you know, say basically boilerplate, you know, 2016, 2017, the left sucks, SJW's cringe kind of talking points like this.
I actually believe that the Democrats are losing ground now with millennials because of all of these antics.
Absolutely. The Democrats are losing millennials more than ever. And I think it has to do with the fact that millennials and everyone my age, you know, in 20-something to early 30s, we don't like being controlled. We grew up in an era where we listened to punk rock music, where we didn't want to listen to, quote unquote, the man. We didn't like the idea of authority whatsoever. And I think a lot of the same millennials who, you know, claimed to be socialist and supported Bernie for a long time, they are now paying taxes. They are now seeing what it's like to have the government tell you what to do. And they don't like that. I certainly don't like that as someone who grew up in the same generation as them, not liking being told what to do. I think they're starting to wake up to this. And when they're being exiled by their own for simply having an opinion, they're...
We don't need to listen to her yap much more. But you get the point, right? Like, you know, we hate authority. We listen to punk rock, man. We listen to like the Dead Kennedys telling us that like the police suck and stuff like that. And like, we don't like the left because they want to tell us how to live. We're perfectly okay with like all their degeneracy, but just don't force it down our throats, man. Again, what was this? 6 years ago, right? So that's 2018, boilerplate, generic, you know, Lolbertarian, conservative, normie con talking points, Turning Point USA kind of content. She did that, right? And then when she left, she essentially, I mean, she now has an OnlyFans. And you know, the last time I remember, you know, the last time I remember anything kind of coming up about her in regards to her presence on the internet, I just remember seeing like Baked Alaska, I think when he was still cool with AF, like quote tweeting her. And I mean, she was doing like OnlyFans now. And she was a total leftist. She calls herself like queer now. She says she's like queer or like lesbian. Excuse me, sorry. She's like queer or lesbian or whatever, bisexual. And she does OnlyFans and she sells herself on the internet. And that's the journey of someone like this. So there are 100 other Ashton Whitties. There are 100 other of these women who, you know, they go on the internet and they act super, super based, almost to a hyperbolic extent. They'll even say things sometimes that like are kind of unhinged just to try and like, you know, fit in with us. And then like someone pisses them off, like they don't date the guy who they wanted to date, or he breaks up with her or whatever. And then they make an OnlyFans, or they become left wing, or they speak out against the alt-right. They leave and they flip the other way. And this is why we say no e-girls ever, right? So, you know, I said I was going to go back to Catholic Match, but I kind of feel like we've said all there needs to be said about it. I mean, basically the central point about Catholic matches, like, you just can't really take like the sort of special holy nature of marriage and kind of Catholic dating and try to put it on a platform that isn't conducive to holiness. I think that's a basic thing to take away. Is it's kind of working against itself, right? But I think to finish off here, what we'll do is maybe we'll just watch this, like, just for, like, I don't know, nostalgia and just to kind of have a few laughs or whatever. We'll watch this, The Rise of the Far-Right Female Influencers Vice documentary. This came out like what? Like, oh, 1 year ago? Crazy. That actually is not long ago, literally at all. Is it older than this? Unless maybe they like re-uploaded it or whatever. 2022? Yeah, 2022. Okay, so not that long ago. I mean, like 2 years ago, maybe? About a year ago. So we'll kind of watch and react to this. And then I think we'll call it a night after that because it's been like 3 hours. Real quick, I'm just going to go pee, though. I can still hear the video. I'm just going to use the restroom, and then I will be here to give commentary. But I'll play the video because I can hear it.
Traditionally, the far right has been a male-dominated and often openly misogynistic space.
Feminism is cancer. Thank you very much.
But in recent years, at least on the surface, something has changed.
At its core, feminism is ideological poison.
Across the world, women have emerged as key figures in far-right movements, playing a central role in softening the image and broadening the appeal of extremist politics.
They are absolutely crucial to spreading the ideology, but they are also crucial to spreading the ideology with a smile, making it seem palatable.
It was women that got Trump elected. And I guess to be really edgy, it was also women that got Hitler elected.
Across the US and Europe, a new generation of female social media personalities are emerging as figureheads of far-right movements.
If you get permanently banned on Twitter like I was, do not start a new Twitter account. You'll just build up your platform again and get kicked off again. Just move to Gab and Minds.
In Italy, the far-right politician Giorgia Meloni has just made history.
Tonight, Italy is preparing for its first ever female prime minister.
In France, Marine Le Pen, head of the far-right National Rally, has established herself as the leading rival to President Emmanuel Macron.
Le Pen is known for her far-right stances, like restricting immigration and banning Muslim women from wearing headscarves in public.
Have women actually become a secret weapon for the far right?
Sorry about that, gang. Someone said it in chat. Static said it in chat, and I think he sums up what we are all feeling. I am so glad Nick is around. I am so glad because, dude, literally look, before Nick really was like, you know, as big as he is now. Look who we had to work with. Who is like the most like based guy prior to Nick? Doyle. Okay. You know, Patrick Casey, who founded Identity Europa. No thanks. You know, I drawn a blank. Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro. I mean, you basically, prior to Nick, like what you had, Evanson in chat, Lauren Southern, it's like you had either e-girls, total, like, kind of just, frankly, retarded, kind of like alt-right dudes, and normie cons, and that was it. You had Lauren Southern, Richard Spencer, Richard Spencer's grown on me, but let's be honest, like, in those old days, he kind of was not that bright. And what I mean by that is, like, yes, he is very intelligent. Let me put that in a better way. He is very intelligent, so in that way, he is very bright. But he didn't know how to sort of level himself or market himself. He had a lot of very interesting ideas, and when you sat down with him, he could really, like, enunciate what he was talking about. He could really go in deep into it and what have you. but he didn't have sort of the understanding that it's like, dude, you're interviewing with people who hate you and are going to like clip your interview and leave out kind of all the stuff that like gives the totality of your message. So all you're doing by like interviewing with the mainstream media is giving them like 5-second clips to show poli-sci students in some university in California and be like, look at the mean alt-right guy who we need to go dox and punch in the street. GCH said he's a bit of a spurg. Yeah, legit. So Richard Spencer was kind of a smart guy, but he was not tactical in any way, shape, or form. He didn't have good optics, and he wasn't a very like marketable guy. You know what I mean? So there was that, and then who was the guy? I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember his name. That did Nationalist Review with Nick. Who did Nationalist Review with Nick? I'm trying to remember his name. I used to watch him actually a lot before he kind of like disappeared off the face of the internet. He was on TRS. James Alsop, thank you. Thank you, Legs Don't Talk. I appreciate it. James Alsop. Okay, I will give credit where credit's due. James Alsop, when he was at his peak, he was pretty good. He was pulling pretty good views and stuff like that on YouTube and stuff like that. But James Alsop is another that like, he had all this momentum. He had all this sort of potential. And he, again, was just kind of so much of a spurg and an idiot that he destroyed any momentum that he had. I mean, Nick gives the story like he got so drunk that he didn't wound up showing up to a speech that he was supposed to give. He was the keynote speaker, and his drunk ass is in bed, sleeping off a hangover, while everyone's waiting for him to give the keynote speech. And then when he, like, eventually wakes up and he's, like, super late or whatever, he shuffles in, and he just gives this, like, rambling thing about white identity that isn't, like, a cohesive thought. Right? It was like a horrible speech. You know, you can watch the Nick stream for him to go more into it. But it was just like a rambling, generic, like, rant about white identity that didn't really have a central thesis to it and was just kind of like a stream of consciousness. So the guy was completely dysfunctional, and he didn't have like any sort of ability to properly map out where he wanted to go with his content and what he wanted to do. And so he was just a spurg. He fell into the whole alt-right camp. He's like, I'm going to go do TRS. And most of the internet was like, cool, what the hell is TRS? You know, unless you're literally a guy who's like plugged in these circles, nobody knows what, you know, freaking TRS is, dude. Give me a break, right? And that's who we had before Nick. Those were our guys before Nick. And then Nick comes in, and Nick brings like the perfect balance between like white identity and Catholicism. You know, he's not someone who's like afraid to touch race because he thinks that like we don't believe that race has a positive value, which we do as Catholics, right? Church is very clear on this. He was willing to talk about race, but in an ethical, right-ordered way. And he was also talking about the faith in an unabashed way. He wasn't some weird SSPX Sede guy who is like, I'm a Catholic, but not really. Like, I'm a Catholic, but like put an asterisk on that and be like, but I disobey Pope Francis and throw him under the bus. He just was a Catholic. He was just like a normal American Catholic guy. And he was very bad. He has this fire and this passion, but he has all this virtue in the positions that he holds. And he knows exactly what he wants, and he has a vision and a purpose, as Poppy Salazar said. We were lost without Nick, bro. What we're about to watch is part of what we had prior to Nick. E-girls, spurgy alt-right guys, and like normie cons. That was your, you know, dog, look what they did to my right wing, right? That was your right wing prior to Nick. And yeah, maybe there were some like kind of esoteric guys like E. Michael Jones or whatever that are good guys and very solid and stuff like that. But it's like, well, let's be honest, E. Michael Jones is more an academic, right? He's more an academic. And that's not dissing him. That's just what he does. He's a guy who writes books and more contributes to the sort of higher echelon of thought that we draw from and then apply for those guys who are boots on the ground, so to speak, right? Who are like running in elections and what have you. So E. Michael Jones was doing the right thing and doing an important thing, but E. Michael Jones wasn't putting together like AFPAC events or something like that, right? That's just not his role. So Nick came along and cleaned things up.
Women on the far right have emerged as major social media presences, becoming leading influencers of the radical right.
I blame feminism for the reaction to what's going on and for the perpetuation of what's going on.
Legit, like half these women, unless you lived in this time or have heard Nick speak on it, like I don't even remember this girl. I don't remember who she was. I remember this one girl who like disappeared off the face of the internet. I still can't remember what her name was. I think it was like red pilled something, but she wore glasses and stuff like that. And she's kind of a younger girl. I think she was like 23 or something. But I remember she like deleted her YouTube channel and just like logged off forever, which was pretty good actually. But like that was such a weird time capsule of thought. At the time I wasn't that based. So like of any of the alt-right stuff I was watching, it was actually like her stuff just because it was the most palatable for me. Because I was watching like libertarians, dude. I was only like 15 or 16. But yeah, I just remember she like logged off forever. Maybe they'll reference her in this video.
Going on and why this mass migration into Europe has gotten so bad.
Lana Locktiff made her name spreading racist and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories through the white supremacist media channel she runs with her husband.
Let me run through a few other European classics coming out that replace the main white character.
Locktiff has been clear about the unique roles she believes women.
I'm just going to be honest, I just don't like that chick. I think she's weird. She rubs me the wrong way.
Should and should not play within far-right movements.
Although I think women are too emotional for leading roles in politics, this is the time for female nationalists to be loud. Why? Men. Women have a special power to inspire and motivate men.
If this, traditionally attractive woman with blonde hair and, a red lip, it somehow it's supposed to seem less odious when they talk about, white superiority, but it's about putting a certain veneer. It's also absolutely about recruitment.
Yes, it's certainly true that the presence of women kind of humanized.
That's our boy right there. That's our boy. Look at my boy, dog. Great optics, great. Look at that jawline and stuff like that. The only thing Jared needs to do is become Catholic and ditch the liberal stuff, dude. Jared, we love you, buddy. But white culture is not like Enlightenment liberalism. It is high medieval Catholic societies, right? I wish I could tell him that, I mean, who am I? I don't have any clout or pull or whatever, but like, I wish I could have met him at AFPAC and been like, Richard, buddy. I keep thinking of Richard Spencer. Jared, buddy, I love you. I love you, dude. You're awesome. Yeah, legit, he's so good. I remember finding his book White Identity. Because I was planning on buying his book eventually, but like I was like, it's on the back burner of my book list or whatever I'm gonna buy. And then I was like in my local bookstore, just saw it on the shelf. I'm like, shoot, dude, like I'm gonna buy, like, heck yeah, I'll definitely buy his book. So I bought White Identity, and he's great. He's just got to ditch the whole like. I think what Jared suffers from is what I see with a lot of identitarians, where they kind of conflate like the difference between like, did it happen in a white society or should it be a part of white society? You know what I mean? Because it's like, you could say that like all the like gross degenerate stuff that we're dealing with. Well, I mean, not really whites leading the headship of those movements, but you could say that all that gross degenerate stuff happened in white societies. And if you were a white identitarian, you could be like, oh, well, liberalism is our heritage because John Locke and like Jean-Jacques Rousseau and like Voltaire and stuff like that. They were all white. They were all French. So we should advocate for that and defend that. But the fundamental failure of that is it doesn't delineate between is this good or is this evil? It just says, well, a white person did it, so therefore we should preserve it. And it's like, that's not the right mindset. And if you have that mindset, that is what then makes race into an idol, where you just think that if a white person does it, it's good. Like, if a white person does it, we should take ownership of it and accept it and defend it. And it's one of those things where Jared, I know that's a little bit of a straw man of Jared. I know he wouldn't say that about every single thing. Like, he wouldn't say that about like the self-effacing attitude that many white people have of themselves, which is like, oh, I feel bad for slavery or whatever. You could say that occurred in white society, but I know Jared wouldn't be for that. But Jared is still for like Enlightenment liberalism and stuff like that. And that is why I am glad that Samuel T. Francis, when he was alive, God rest his soul, when Samuel T. Francis was alive, in his essay on race, The Roots of the White Man, which is probably the best essay on race I've ever read, he rightfully starts out the essay by being like, Jared, liberalism is not like the foundation of white people. This is what's the foundation of white people. And he goes into this cool, awesome history about basically how because every culture, because all men are made in the image of God, every culture has sort of a primal memory of what it was like to worship God. Like, deep inside our hearts were made to worship God. And so intuitively, we remember some elements of that worship. We remember some elements of the true faith. But because of, the ways of this world and original sin and our cleaving away from God, we've fallen into a state where we no longer know God and love him as we should, which is being Catholic, or in the Old Testament would be Judaism, right? So because of that, it doesn't mean that those false religions we believed in were true or good or righteous or just, but every single group of people has elements of the true faith embedded in that otherwise cake of falsehood, right? For instance, the Hawaiians recognized that there was a global flood that happened. The flood that filled up the entire world, and was the flood that, Moses, or not Moses, Noah survived. Goodness gracious, I'm conflating our prophets and patriarchs, man. Noah survived, right? Noah's Ark, Noah's flood, or the Great Flood, right? Hawaiian culture recognizes that there was this great flood. That's a memory from Noah, because we all remember our patriarch Noah, like, intuitively, right? And many other cultures around the world remember that event happening. White people remember that there was this like there was this like 3-person or this sort of like split up of, priest, prophet, king, right? Which then in the medieval ages turned into those who fight, those who work, and those who pray, right? The monks, the knights, and the peasants. And it's cool because it's like Samuel T. Francis's essay basically is like, look at all this cool intuitive stuff that we remembered from our forefathers. He wasn't Catholic yet, so he doesn't draw those conclusions, but if you're Catholic, you know what's up. So you're able to kind of put the pieces together that he lays out for you, right? But when you put those pieces together, Samuel T. Francis writes such a comprehensive essay of who we are as white people. And Jared is very, very, very good at a lot of the white topics, but he just tends to fail when it comes to uncritically looking at white culture and not parsing out the wheat from the chaff, right? Caldera sibling said, Pine Sap, love your shirt, bro. Snoopy. Oh, thank you, man. Native Americans have a lot of great flood stories too. I believe it, man. I believe it. Let's see here. Wow, Pine Sap, you should just give up. Dude, why are you throwing shade my way, bro? I thought we were homies, M. Why are you throwing shade a homie's way, bro?
and also almost justifies a movement.
Yeah, it makes it softer to hear. It's easier for people to hear a hard message when it's a soft, good-looking woman saying it. It's just
showing the ways in which, there's actually more
Again, Jared, I love you, but that was a little bit of an L.
Familiarity, more similarity, between, what the far right believes and what mainstream conservatives believe, I think is really crucial.
There's one key demographic in particular to whom female far-right influencers appear to have a special appeal, and that's other women.
The majority of white women voted for Trump, so I think the media is trying to spin it that, oh my God, all these women are feminists now. I think the majority are not feminists, and when you...
I'm not trying to be mean, man, but look at those foreheads. Like, I could advertise Chester's Chicken, Arbys off the next exit, on both those foreheads, man. Like, what is it with these like women's hairline, bro? Like, I mean, even my hairline is, decent, I think. I think it's a pretty good hairline. I don't have like a massive forehead. Like, I don't know, maybe it's so over for me, but if you put up like 4 fingers, like you hit my hair, like my hair is right here, right? But like, what is this, dude? It's like, I'm looking at girls' forehead for like where the next gas station is off I-25. You know what I'm saying?
You actually talk to women and say, well, what does that really mean? You find that the majority of them are actually quite traditional.
The irony is that Locktiff and other far-right influencers spend much of their time railing against the feminist movement that won women the right to a public political voice in the first place.
I think of women back then not being able to vote and having the whole one house, one vote thing. Why would you marry a man who wouldn't vote in your best interest or you wouldn't agree with politically to begin with?
They sort of position themselves, or they have this posture of, as a woman, I can speak to what feminism really is. Women who feel threatened by it, women who don't see a place for themselves, they think that feminism has made the world a worse place.
Unmarried and childless right here. This is the face, like those sunken eyes, like that just like defeated kind of look. Like, this is the face of like an unmarried childless woman, bro. Like, she's probably like, she looks 30. That's kind of being generous, honestly. She's like 35, bro. And like, you can just tell that she's like unmarried and childless.
I think that it is ultimately an anti-woman project. They also describe partnership and motherhood as political action, because when your whole project is about guaranteeing the future of whiteness, fulfilling all of that is a matter of politics.
Awesome. All right, that looks great. Now, this is complete. You're done. You've got this cute, ad-friendly makeup look.
Figures like the Canadian alt-right star, Lauren Southern, operate as independent, empowered entrepreneurs and consciously use the same social media strategies as other online influencers to build their following.
Underestimated the amount of people that were going to be here. I said there was only going to be 1,000. There are thousands. Hey, it's someone who watches the channel. How's it going?
Alongside the anti-feminist rhetoric from influencers has been the growth of an entire online
No! I hate that Wojak! I hate it, dude. I hate that Wojak. That damn Wojak. I just can't stand it, dude. I cannot stand it. It's just so... Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that none of my roommates texted me for being too loud. I can't stand that damn Wojak. If I could what's that movie called with Will Smith, and it's called Men in Black. If I could just take the Men in Black memory eraser thing and just memory erase all of humanity of this dumb image, I would, bro.
Culture known as tradwives, who actively reject pursuing their own careers or independence in favor of raising families and submitting to their husbands.
Dude, don't listen to this narrative of feminism that is killing white Western society. Don't buy into it.
The trad movement is this movement to celebrate women who are in traditional roles. You are creating content that celebrates, that, highlights how good the trad life is. It's making traditional gender roles seem appealing, seem cool, seem a part of the future. But if you really spend time with it, and you look at some of these, Instagram accounts or TikToks, what you'll realize is it's as much about what it's against as what it's for.
Thank you for not being ashamed to be traditional, to be Christian, to be conservative, and to be white.
I'm feminine, not feminine.
Dog, I'm sorry again. The hairline. What is that hairline? She looks like she's balding, bro. She looks like she's got gumballs in her mouth. I'm sorry, there's plenty of things you can criticize about me. That's fair, I got the Groiper gut going on. I look like I got the Adam Sandler bod going on right now. That's fair. I accept that. I need to work on that for sure. But girl's got gumballs in her mouth and the 5 head going on. It's so bad, dude. It's just so bad. I'm gonna pick up this little tratty at the gas station after taking 2 months off of work. How does that sound, guys? Let me know in chat. Should I pick up on this little tratty, this little trad baddie at the gas station in the middle of Iowa after my 2-month break off of work? Let me know in chat.
Right? And so seeding these ideas that, you want to be like me. Look how great my life is. Children love me. Men love me. Look how celebrated I am in comparison to, right? You'll start to see the ways in which being trad is also about being anti something, not just pro-tradition, but anti-progress. No role could be more important in the far right than being someone who is willing to uphold a society of traditional gender roles and to have children and raise children within that society.
In Europe, 2 examples stand out of female politicians leading far-right parties to mainstream acceptance. In France, Marine Le Pen took over her father's far-right anti-immigration party in 2011 and
who made it completely awful and totally watered down Jean-Marie Le Pen's entire party platform and entire politics, and on top of that called faithful Catholics neo-Nazis. Based woman, by the way. Based far-right woman, by the way, right? Marine Le Pen, right? Slanders faithful Catholics and literally destroys everything that her father built. That, again, classic example of what women in right-wing politics does. Just totally sells the farm.
Immediately set about trying to soften its hardline image, taking it from the margins to become a major opposition party. Je contrôlerai l'immigration et to become a...
I'm sorry. Hold up. This kind of goes a little hard, I'm not gonna lie. This image, this is like an album cover right here. I'm just saying, listen. Maybe I'm a little off base for saying that, but this image goes hard.
Taking it from the margins to become a major opposition party.
Je contrôlerai l'immigration et rétablirai la sécurité pour tous.
Far-right movements and parties, first of all, are highly strategic, and secondly, are highly opportunistic. Women are essentially a tool to that end. Women are seen as having a better entree into that process of detoxification.
There will be in these immigrants terrorists.
Marine Le Pen is a very smart and adept politician. She wants to project racist ideas to potential voters, but she also sees that there's a boundary, and if she goes too far, that would start costing her voters instead of adding voters.
Le Pen has even tried to co-opt feminist arguments, pitching her anti-immigrant rhetoric as a defense of women's rights.
A day after the allegations of mass sexual assault were made public, Cologne continues to search for the perpetrators and for answers.
On New Year's Eve 2015, large numbers of women were sexually assaulted by groups of male immigrants at celebrations in Cologne and other German cities. Far-right parties immediately seized on this to amplify panic about the so-called European migration crisis that year.
An estimated 7...
Because migrants are rapists. Can we just be honest? They do rape innocent women. They kill our sons and rape our daughters. Like, these migrants coming in literally will like kill our sons, rape our daughters, and then they'll get thrown in the prison system, and it'll be like, oh, Jim Jar had a horrible life back in, Morocco, and we've put him through a program where he's going to read and study the Constitution for 1 hour, and, well, yippity day, he's just going to, become as American as apple pie, Like, give me a break. Like, these migrants are raping and killing people, okay? These migrants literally are pouring over the border and they're raping and killing us. This is why we have to have a complete moratorium on immigration, right? I love how these like left-wing journos will sell a bill of goods. It's these like innocent women and children and stuff like that. And it's like, you can see the videos in Spain of just hordes of Muslims pouring over the border, just pouring over, only to like burn down like trucks and cause chaos and make entire cities and towns completely unlivable for native Spaniards. Just absolutely ridiculous.
1,700 right-wing demonstrators protested Germany's liberal immigration policy after more than 20 migrants were arrested for allegedly assaulting women on New Year's Eve.
Le Pen herself wrote an editorial claiming that immigration from Africa and the Middle East was a threat to women's rights in Europe.
The fact that Marine Le Pen uses women's rights in some arenas and doesn't use women's rights in other arenas is a perfect example of how that's an opportunistic strategy. It's a tool to say, I want to attack ethnic minorities, I'm going to attack them using this tool.
In Italy, there's been a similar process of female-led detoxification, with Giorgia Meloni leading the...
Migrant, kills a family of 4. Bro, you have a problem with that? How could you attack minorities, dude? Migrant goes in, with an illegal firearm, which the native population doesn't even have access to, kills like 15 people. Bro, why are you using this to attack minorities? Unbelievable, dude.
Far-right Brothers of Italy, which has roots in Italian fascism, to become the largest party in parliament.
Moi, je crois que Mussolini, c'était un bon politicien.
The 45-year-old firebrand insists she's no fascist, just a proud conservative and nationalist.
And unlike Marine Le Pen, Giorgia Meloni doesn't use feminism in order to gain votes.
I see the woke ideology. Will we surrender in front of this?
In fact, she openly rails against modern feminism, instead championing so-called traditional family and gender roles, despite herself having faced the stigma of being an unwed mother.
Sí a la familia natural. No a los lobby LGBT.
Meloni's like...
She says all this, and people are, just... Right, yeah, Meloni. Meloni's baloney, dude. She literally hasn't, she has still allowed Italy to accept entire just hordes of migrants and has not followed up on any of her campaign promises. Because again, what do these right-wing women always do without fail? Water down our policies, water down our politics to make them more acceptable, even when we win. Even when people are like, can you please do the thing we voted, for you to do? They're like, well, that's going to be off-putting to people. So how about 500,000 more migrants? How about we take this small Italian village that has been native Italian for like 2,000 years, and we just put a ton of migrants in there? Unbelievable, dude. Even so-called based Giorgia Meloni doesn't do anything. It's like, what sucks right now is the men in our parties are Zionists. If they're men, they're Zionists. And if they're women, I mean, enough said, right? Like, to be blunt, women should not be in politics at all, right? Women do good, I will say this. Women do a really good job running like parish offices and stuff like that. I've seen it before, right? Women do good jobs, running parish offices or, community stuff like, the fall fair, cultural events and stuff like that. I've seen it in my own life. Do a great job organizing those and stuff like that, because that all kind of still has to do with their like role as like the woman, right? As like the heart, right? As the supporter, as like the homemaker, as like the heart of the home. And that's why they're really good at that stuff. That's why they can do that stuff pretty well even. I appreciate that. But anything beyond that instantly turns into, you know, watering down our politics, because politics is a man's game. It is a man's world and it's a man's territory. And if men are not leading the charge in it, if men are not leading in politics, we all become soft, effeminate, docile, and we're led by these overbearing women who will never enact any of the policies that we vote for. Sells us a bill of goods every single election cycle. Trust me, bro, she's not like the other women. And then she turns out to be exactly like the other, you know, female politicians or worse. So
virtually all far-right politicians extremely contradictory. Some parts of feminism work for her as a politician. At the same time, absolutely interested in using anti-LGBT, anti-women's rights, anti-welfare for immigrant rights rhetoric when it suits her. Very important to realize that women are not politically a monolith now or in history. We create our own peril by failing to understand how central women can be in the...
Marjorie Taylor Greene, bro. She is so cooked, dude. Oh my goodness. She looks like the missing link. Like, I don't even believe, like... Listen, I'm a young earth creationist, but the strongest argument that people have for evolution is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Because I look at this girl and I'm thinking, well, there's your missing link between Homo erectus and Homo sapiens, bro. There's your missing link just right there. You know? I mean, that, you know, that's the strongest argument. Listen, evolutionists don't have that strong arguments. But that's the strongest argument for evolution right there. It's just Marjorie Taylor Greene and her like massive forearms or her massive shoulders, dude.
Far right. If we have blinders on that make us think that far right is a man's terrain and progressive politics is a women's terrain.
And guess what? Now we're pissed. And we have very good reason to be pissed. And I hope you're not twisting this for your liberal media.
Influencers use the platforms won for them by feminist pioneers to attack feminism itself. But as long as they keep pulling in votes and online clicks, no one on the far right is going to get too hung up on these hypocrisies.
We're not going to watch that video, but you know, like that right there, like transphobic influencers are driving a violent groomer conspiracy. I just laugh at that because it's like, didn't we I literally today posted clips, or not clips, but the tweets of Chris Tyson, Mr. Beast's best friend, literally like openly talking about pedophilia on the timeline on Twitter. You honestly gotta love Vice. Like, literally, we will be like looking Vice. I'm so glad, honestly, Vice shut down. Like, screw Vice. I like rest in you know, rest in peace. It was not nice knowing you. Vice is the kind of friend that if you were watching like a build, or not a friend, if Vice was a person and you were watching a building burn down, you're like, oh my goodness, that building is burning down. It's on fire. The people inside are like dying. We need to do something about that. They like come along and they're like, hey man, the building's not burning down. Actually, it's just the temperature is just increasing in the building. That's it. It's just getting a little toastier than it would be normally, but it's not burning down. Don't look at the burn. Don't look at the fire. Don't look over here. Yeah, that heat you feel from the fire or the flames, the burning building and bodies in there, dude. That's just global warming or whatever. That's just climate change, dude. Look over here. Look at the funny clown. Look at the clown video. Look at the funny clown. Look at the YouTube clips. Mr. Beast YouTube clips. Look at that. it's literally like telling you to your face that you're believing a lie when you're actually watching it happen. Like, we all know what migrants are doing. They're literally taking over entire cities and making them like unlivable and creating like balkanization of Western civilization, creating balkanized Western societies. And Vice comes in and they're like, actually, here's how that's a harmful alt-right conspiracy theory. Really, are you going to tell that to the dad whose daughter was just gang raped by, you know, some Algerians? You going to look him in the face and tell him that was just an alt-right conspiracy theory? You going to tell the son, you going to tell the mother, of one son who her son was walking down the street and happened to, look at a MS-13 gang member the wrong way, and he put 9 in his chest. Her son, who was a Boy Scout, pillar of the community, going on to be a great college graduate. You gonna tell her that was just an alt-right lie? Screw you. You people are sick. There's this old quote. Soren Kierkegaard, I was trying to remember his name. Soren Kierkegaard said, and he was like, if I had to choose between my daughter being a prostitute and my son being a journalist, I would prefer to have a prostitute daughter because of how shameless and evil journalists are. Journalists are like scum. Not like Catholic journalists, like Catholic News Agency, right? We love Catholic News Agency. We love The Wanderer. This is great. We love Catholic News Agency, right? Love CNA, love The Wanderer, love those guys. But people like Vice and Washington Post and all these people, they're like actual scum. Like, these people are like actually evil, sycophantic maniacs. They don't care whose lives they ruin. They don't care if they tell you all kinds of lies and just, as I said with the burning house example, you literally see these things happening in real time and they want to tell you, no, that's actually a conspiracy theory you're believing in. Go back to watching Family Guy on YouTube. Don't get politically involved. Don't wake up to what's going on. It's just insane. And these are the people running our country. These are the people calling the shots. Who lives or who dies? What policies get through and what ones don't? Who gets to have a voice and who doesn't get to have a voice? And I'm sick of it. And I know you guys are sick of it too. So it's like we have to step forward and we have to not be bound by these people anymore. And we got to anyone we can wake up, we got to wake up, right? Anyone we can red pill on, the lies of these, vampires, we got to wake up, right? So it's just amazing, man.
And our continent is called Europe.
I love that, dude. Like, honestly, like that, like those kinds of edits and stuff like that. I got to remember to look this guy up again after the stream's done. Like, I love it, dude. Sorry, but naked statue, naked art in general. I'm Christian B. Wagner pilled. No, that's fair. That's true. Yeah, naked. I'm against naked statues too. But I do like what I do like about those statues. Not that, but sort of like and not Arno Brecker's like weird statues, like the naked ones, but like the I think the bust he did was called the Athlete. Is it just sort of like gives you this like image of like power and honor and something to look back on and be like, like if you're white, like you look at that and you're like, that's my heritage. Like those are my people. You know, like I look at that and I feel proud and I feel like a sense of belonging. You know what I mean? This guy's awesome, dude.
A few timid people who fear progress will try to give you new and strange names for what man's communism. But in so doing...
La semilla de nuestro patriotismo regada con la sangre de tantos mártires hará fecunda la
ago, an American airplane.
Sorry, that's kind of long, so I don't know if I'm gonna see De Gaulle, GTA 4. De Gaulle's not that based. I don't really like De Gaulle. Ew, Ukraine. Ugh. God, homie's heart is in the right place. I mean, like, he's got, like, a Salazar edit. That's awesome, but, like... Bro, why are you making a Leon Bloom edit, bro? Oh, my goodness. He's, like, what... He's, like, one of the... Sorry, someone's trying to call me. He's, like, one of the worst guys in history, bro. He, like, legit, like, as... When he was the president of France, he was financing and sending funds to the Spanish Republicans. And on top of that, he, you know, Jewish, by the way, was responsible for restricting Catholicism in France, too. You know, it's like, and again, this is kind of what I'm going back to, what I went back to with, like, Jared Taylor. Like, not all things that happen in white countries are, like, worthy of, like, recreating or honoring, right? Like, you know, the French Revolution or the, I don't know, like, what else is here? The French Revolution or, like, kind of the Ukraine shilling and stuff like that. It's like, come on, you know? Or, like, I mean, Lenin, dude. Like, Lenin is not white, by the way. Lenin's, like, a monster, bro. Like, I think homie's heart's in the right place, but it's like, we shouldn't do this, like, just uncritical pan-European, you know, evaluations of culture. We should be pan-European, but like in the Catholic sense, in the like what is most concordant with the Catholic faith and what is in line with it, and anything that isn't, throw it out, you know? So, dude is a secular right-winger for sure. For sure, man. I definitely get that feel with him. So, what are your biggest issues with De Gaulle? You just, I mean, I can't think of really specifics right now, but off the top of my head, I mean, like, every firsthand account I've ever heard of him, the guy was a jerk. He didn't shake the hand of the Archbishop of Paris, whereas, like, Pétain, like, there's literally pictures of Pétain going to mass and, like, attending mass and stuff like that, and, like, openly having a good relationship with, like, the Archbishop of Paris and stuff like that. And De Gaulle was, like, none of those things. I don't think his faith really played a big role in his politics either. Like, he's not like someone who's actually kind of awesome. Let me see if actually I can find. There was a really good lecture. They talked about like Eamon de Valera, Charles de Gaulle. The guy giving it was like an absolute genius. I'm trying to, here we go. Okay, this is probably one of the best lectures I've ever heard. In fact, I will gladly post this on Telegram just before I forget. Catholic Statesmen of the 20th Century. It's like it's almost 2 hours long. And it's great. I mean, it's like a really, really good lecture. It's got, Blessed Karl of Austria. It's got Franco in there. He kind of talks a little positively about de Gaulle. Maybe he gives some nuance to de Gaulle. That's fair. And then like Eamon de Valera, if you look at when Eamon de Valera died, guess what he was buried in? This Chad, when he died, was buried This man, when he died, was so Catholic, he was buried in his third order Dominican habit with a rosary wrapped around his hands. That's the kind of president I want. That's a man I look up to in history, and I say, now that's a guy I appreciate. Now, he did take one L, and the L I remember because of Father Fahey, which if you guys don't know Father Fahey, he is awesome, super holy. I love Father Fahey with all my heart. I think he should be canonized. Father Fahey had an organization called Maria Duce, which was designed to Christianize society. It was to promote the social kingship of Christ and the queenship of Mary. And he went to Eamon de Valera and said, hey, you need to make Ireland like an official Catholic state. Like the Republic of Ireland needs to have as its official religion Catholicism. Because the Irish Constitution had like a Christian foundation, a Catholic foundation, but it wasn't like de facto a Catholic state. And Eamon de Valera kind of like dragged his heels and talked about how like that wouldn't be conducive to pluralism. So that was kind of an L on his part. And I do have a problem with that, to be honest. But, you know, overall, he was a great man. He was a great man. He's worth admiring. And you can understand, I mean, he probably was trying to get over the sectarian violence going on in Ireland. Look, I get it, but like, he should have made the state Catholic. Can we be real? Ireland would be so much better if the state was officially Catholic. Can we just be real on that for a moment? So, but it's okay. We all take L's. We all make mistakes and stuff like that. It doesn't rule him out as being a great man. But man, almost 4 hours, dude. Well, great, guys. So I think that's about good. We've almost hit the 4 hour mark and stuff like that. This was an awesome stream. And hey, more content's coming. More theological content is on its way. More, like lectures on different topics and stuff like that. I got a really good video coming out, or a really good stream you guys are going to like about Father John Meyerdorff, the famous Orthodox scholar, and how he essentially concedes our opinions, concedes our position and stuff like that. And we'll talk a little bit about Father Alexander Schmemann too, another Orthodox scholar who concedes our position. So stay tuned for that. And just some other stuff. We're going to read St. Alphonsus Liguori's sermon on immodest language. I need to hear that one. And I think ultimately it's going to just keep getting better and better and better. But I had a great time with the stream. So let's close out in prayer real quick, and we'll call it. So in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. God bless you guys, and have an excellent night, okay?